What's up, everybody? Welcome to Flagrant, and today we're gonna find out what the FTX is, okay? What's an FTT? Okay, we're gonna find out how they convinced Tom Brady to give all of his money to them. We're gonna find out how they convinced Miami Heat to give them the damn arena to name, and how they got Larry David to be in a Super Bowl commercial, and then how they squandered $10 billion somehow. And why a guy worth $26 billion would be having sex with a girl that looks like she designs costumes for The Incredibles. We're gonna figure out all of this with the one and only, maybe the guy who started it, to be honest with you. The reason we're in, the reason we're invested, not the pizza boy, the pizza man, Anthony Pompliano. Talk to us, Pomps.
Y'all got to get the fuck out of New York because it is freezing here.
This is right. You are right about this. You are right about
Is
this.
New York a term for crypto that you use? And I'm not.
I also think when people see me on the podcast, they should ask themselves, is it the top or the bottom? Because that's the only two times I come on. We're going to mark tops and mark bottoms with my appearances.
I was telling him, I was like, I really admire it. I admire that you came at your people could run away that could not be part of it.
Do you want to know why I came?
Talk to us.
Two reasons. One, hey, listen, let's talk about it. We gotta fucking talk about it. Let's talk about it. Whatever. Okay. But the second thing was, my wife was like, oh, you're gonna go for the day, the whole thing. I said, listen, I saw Andrew Schulz, when everyone was going at Rogan, he stood up and he said, yo, fuck this, I know this guy, he's not a racist, I'm cool with it. And I said to myself, oh, look, if he's gonna go bat for people, I'll go fuck it and let's go talk about whatever they want to talk about. Hopefully we don't talk about anything I don't want to talk about.
Okay. I don't know what you just said, but I'm with you, man.
And we can't promise you that one.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, we have to understand what's going on. Please explain to us what FTX was, what Alameda was, and Sam Bankman-Fried, what he did with these companies.
So we're still learning everything, right? Okay. So everything is based on what we know right now. But basically, Sam used to work at Jane Street, which is a trading firm in Wall Street. He was like, yo, I can make money in crypto. He subscribes to this idea of effective altruism, and basically like make as much money as you can to do as much good in the world as you can.
Yeah. That's hey. Everyone's a liar. Everyone's a liar. I want to make $10 billion to help people. What a fucking load of shit.
All right, so that's what he said.
Yeah.
And so he starts
out into that. Unbelievable. Larry David, you fucking goofy. Fucking
so
idiot.
He starts out, he's basically trading back and forth. You could buy Bitcoin on one exchange in America. You could go sell it in another country for a different price. He would just profit the difference.
So he found some arbitrage there.
Arbitrage.
I think it was in Japan. Yeah.
So he's just doing it over and over and over again. That was the beginning of Alameda Research. Just think of it as a trading firm, right?
A hedge fund for
hedge
crypto?
Fund, trading firm, whatever you want to call it. And at some point, they were like, hey, this is a good game, but like the exchanges, that's even better game. And for people who don't know anything about these exchanges, one of the key pieces is you have to have liquidity. So if you start an exchange, you need people to trade there, right? Because if people show up and they want to trade, they're like, hey, I'll sell Bitcoin, but no one wants to buy it, then you're screwed.
Because you have to hold the Bitcoin until someone else buys it.
You just need buyers and sellers to meet.
Yeah.
And so you could do that a lot of different ways. You could be really good at marketing and getting people there. You could have some sort of better economics for people, like an incentive or whatever. They had an exchange, and then they had the hedge funds. So they could provide liquidity. So it was a very liquid market early on, so a lot of people would show up. It also didn't hurt that a lot of people, supposedly when they were showing up, were making a lot of money. So if you're a trader and you're like, hey, I can go trade on all these different exchanges, but I always make money on this one.
Well, this one sounds like a good one.
It's kind of like a sports book, right? If you're gambling all the time and you're like, oh, but I always win at this sports book.
We're going back.
They get all your business, right?
Yeah.
So that started to happen. And then,
real quick, an exchange is a place where people can buy crypto, sell crypto, and also store crypto, right?
You're not supposed to leave it there, but yes, people do leave it on the exchanges. Because think about it, if you're trading, especially the traders, right? If you're trading, you don't know if a couple hours from now you're going to want to buy, sell, do nothing, whatever. So
it's annoying to take it all the way off, put it back up, so you leave it up there.
So a lot of people leave it, right?
Yeah.
And so as this was building up, he built it into, $32 billion company, FTX, raised a bunch of money, had not really that many employees, a couple hundred employees, but for a $32 billion company, not that many. And then it like all fell apart over the last 2 weeks. And now people are waking up and they're like, oh shit, like they took away the alcohol. No one's drunk anymore on all the profits. Like, what the hell happened? And that's where we are now.
Okay, so what did happen? How did they go from $32 billion to absolutely nothing?
Yeah, that's pretty tough to do.
Yeah.
Really.
So remember, 32 billion is basically like a fake number, right? It's kind of like if we all start a company together and we come to you and we're like, our company's worth 100 million, and you give us $1. And you say, yes, it's worth $100 million. Like, now we're all like, oh, we have a $100 million company. But, like, that's just because we convinced you that it was worth $100 million, right?
Got you. So it's the evaluation. So if it's worth $100 million and I give you $1 million, I own 1% of that company.
Correct.
At that evaluation.
But, like,
at that valuation.
Yeah, somebody else may be like, it's not worth 100 million, it's worth 50 million, right? Somebody else may be like, you guys are all morons, that's a worthless company.
This always happens on Shark Tank.
Correct.
The guys come in and they say you get 10% for $1 million. And they're like, you're giving yourself a $10 million valuation. I don't agree.
Correct.
Okay.
So 32 billion was the valuation of the company itself, which people were giving real money. They invested billions of dollars, but the 32 number was just the valuation of the company. And so what basically occurred was people were giving them money on the exchange to buy and sell crypto. And in their terms of service, it said, we don't touch the coins that you give us. So if you have Bitcoin on our exchange, we leave it there. If you have Ethereum, we leave it there. If you have stable coins, we leave it there. We don't touch it. And so one of the things that does go on in crypto, it also goes on in traditional finance. And we've talked about on past episodes, like if you put your dollars in the bank, what do? They lend it on the back, right?
100%.
There are crypto companies that do the same thing, but FTX said we don't do that. And so people believe them. And so then it came out.
Making money?
How are they making money? They take a spread. So like, I want to sell Bitcoin. You want to buy the Bitcoin? They take like a fee or a spread, sometimes both. And so it came out that at some point over the last couple of years, Sam, the FTX team, whoever, allegedly was like, oh, why don't we take the user funds and like bring it over here to the hedge fund?
Which is Alameda.
Correct. And so it's unclear, like, was there legal documentation that it was a loan? Did they just, like, move it? The degree of intentionality versus they would describe it as a mistake, like, you can imagine there's a big bankruptcy filing, so, like, now lawyers are involved. Like, it's all going to come out.
So do we know if they moved the funds or if they took a loan on the creator funds?
What I think is clear is that, like, $8 billion, like, wasn't where it was supposed to be. I think is maybe the best way to say it.
Right.
And how it got to the wrong place, I think there's some debating going on right now.
Now, is it, I read something about them backing that, let's call it a loan or whatever it is, with their own token.
Yeah,
Is that true? Because they had a token, right? FTT is...
This is where it gets kind of crazy. So, like, imagine, again, go back to that example. We have a $100 million company that we all created. We got an investor to invest at that valuation. And then he was like, all right, cool. Like, what are the assets of the business? And we're like, well, we have some computers. We have some desks. And then, like, we literally just have a stack of papers that we just, like, ripped out of a notebook. And they're just sitting here. And, like, that's an asset. And they're like, well, what's it worth? Be like, well, we sold some of those pieces of paper to somebody else for $100 a piece of paper. And be like, okay, like why do they think it's worth 100? Well, that's what the market says it's worth. It's not paper. They just created coins. Like they literally just like got coins that they created, FTT. Now, there was an advantage if you held it. So some of these exchanges do have coins. And what they'll say is things like, if you have our coin, you may get lower fees on the exchange. And they try to create like value.
So you trade in your Bitcoin for FTTs and then they pay you to hold the FTTs.
It's like a casino kind of thing. Like
A few different exchanges did this. I think BlockFi might be one of them.
Yeah,
right?
so BlockFi. You want to air out your problems?
No, I'm just saying you got me into crypto, so I have some idea of what you're saying, which is rare, and I know different ways in which you fucked me. So just.
So
I still believe long term, but you fucked me gently.
BlockFi doesn't have a token, but there are other actual exchanges. So Binance has a token, FTX had a token, etc. And what became kind of weird is like if you control the money supply essentially of FTT and you give it to someone and you say, hey, I'll give you $500 million of this token. Give me a loan or give me some value. I invest the token. Now I own equity in your business, like all these different things.
It's pretty brilliant, actually.
If the token is worth what you say it's worth, okay, it's crazy, but like, okay. The problem, what eventually happened is CZ, the CEO of Binance, was just like, I don't think that I'm going to hold this anymore. And he tweeted it. which like
So Binance is another
exchange.
Yeah. The biggest competitor of FTX.
Correct.
And it looks like he intentionally tried to affect FTX's bottom line or business or tank the whole company. It appears that way.
CZ doesn't seem to be a stupid guy,
Yeah.
and he basically had a kill shot, and I think he took it.
And
right?
why
It's
did
the
he
way
have
it
a
looks.
kill shot? Like,
They helped seed FTX years ago, so he was an investor, and so he got bought out of his position, and he publicly said that they got paid in stable coins and some of these other tokens, these FTT tokens. So he was sitting on like $500 million worth of the token.
and he realized.
And what he tweeted was just like, due to recent information, because there's an article that CoinDesk published, he goes, we're going to be selling our position. But if you got $500 million,
That's a big
and
position.
You tell people you're going to sell it. Well, everyone else goes, maybe I'll sell before he sells.
Now, I heard SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, tried to buy the position at like $22 a coin from, what's his name, is CZ?
CZ.
From CZ. And then CZ said no because he didn't want it to get purchased. He wanted to flood the market.
There was a public tweet from the CEO of the hedge fund, which, again, this is where you start getting into a little bit of conspiracy land. Like, why did she tweet $22 was the price of the token at the time?
Yeah.
Like, was that an important number? And so did they kind of reveal or tip their hand? And so, like, the one thing in crypto is, like, there are millions and millions and millions of people around the world that are playing this game / in this industry, trading, whatever. These people are not dumb.
Yeah.
And so if they think that there's an opportunity to make money by arbitraging something or by like basically screwing somebody in terms of like the market, like they're going to at least try.
Yeah.
And so that's ultimately what happened. It unraveled the whole thing. And pretty much within like a week, they filed for bankruptcy.
And wasn't there a leak that came through CoinDesk that basically kind of blew all of it up before the tweet? And how did that leak come out?
I don't know who leaked it.
What was the leak?
It was the balance sheet of the hedge fund.
Ooh.
So like basically saying like
The hedge fund is Alameda.
Alameda, yeah. Like, hey, they have all these assets, but a lot of them are in this token that is their token. Like, kind of like revealed more information. There's a guy, Ian Allison at CoinDesk, who, in my opinion, like this is the story of for sure the year, if not probably the decade, when it comes to kind of this new like digital world. And he's not going to get as much credit as he should, but it wasn't like the mainstream media. It wasn't a regulator. It wasn't like somebody supposedly from the industry leaked the balance sheet to a reporter in the industry. He published it, and then like the free market took over.
Interesting.
Right? And then you have CZ. He's got the
CZ
coins.
kind of swayed it a little. Like he kind of started that run.
That's the market. He's a market participant, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of like free market dynamics play. Now, the sad part, I think we should call it, is like a lot of people got hurt in this, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who lost money. There's a lot of people who got duped. There's a lot of people who thought this was one thing. It turns out it's not. So like, free market is like this interesting dynamic because like technically I've said that like the free market's the judge, jury, and executioner, but like there's collateral damage as well. And so this happens in finance to a degree. But if in finance, let's say a stock goes down too fast, like remember during COVID, like the stocks they'd be falling, like they look like shitcoins, right?
Yeah.
They have something called circuit breaker, where if the stock falls, I think it's like 8%, they basically just say time out.
They
and the
halt
stock
trading.
stops trading for 15 minutes. Like everyone catch your breath. And then if it falls again, they stop it. And then if I think it's like 20%, they shut off the trading of that for the day.
So it's not just this one-day race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like very rarely will you see it. Now in aftermarket trading, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that can happen. But like there's controls around the trading of the assets because they've seen this stuff happen in the past where things can go from worth a lot to basically nothing in seconds.
Now, isn't that an argument for regulation? I know one of the beautiful things about crypto, one of the things that was so exciting about it was that it was not regulated. It didn't have like that central bank system that we have here and that freedom that people talk about. I'm sure you spoke about many times. But I feel like this experience right here is a perfect example of where regulation could have helped.
Yeah, well, there's two things. So first, you can't confuse Bitcoin with like all this other stuff, right? So Bitcoin is a decentralized kind of electronic peer-to-peer
all this other
currency.
stuff is
It's finance. Yeah, it's finance.
No, but it's like more similar to the dollar.
It's
like
the dollar.
100%.
Like what you were describing with FTT, I was thinking, how is that not fiat?
Yeah, basically these people have become central banks.
And the thing about that is like if you are a central bank, you're going to need regulation in place. So they were central banks without regulation. And what would somebody do if they just had a printing press for money?
Well, it's even, I think, worse than that. So like Bitcoin is kind of in a league of its own. It is this decentralized thing. An asset isn't regulated, right? Like the dollar doesn't get put in jail. The dollar isn't fined. It's the companies and the organizations and the people who deal with dollars. They're regulated in the traditional financial world. So the asset's just an inanimate object. Same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just a system. You can't regulate it. There's nobody to put in jail.
Well, there is a regulation, right? There's an amount. That I would call that a regulation.
Oh, the code, yeah. The code basically says it'd be 21 million Bitcoin.
Yeah, and maybe that's all you need to create the value. So
it's like a self-regulated
The
system.
reason why it's the most valuable is because it has a regulator on it.
Yeah, it's decentralized, it's the most secure, and also I think that there's like the least amount of fuckery, which I think is a really key piece to this, because what we'll see on this other stuff is like they just recreated finance. And I don't go as far as maybe some of the hardcore Bitcoin, like maximalist people will go. They'll be like, it's all worthless, it's all stupid, it's all this stuff. I just look at it as like people are going to create these financial systems, whether we like it or not, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But what the central bank idea of like just creating your own tokens, to your point, like there's no disclosure rules at the same level that there is in the legacy financial system. But FTX was regulated. They had a regulated entity in the United States. They had a regulated entity in the Bahamas. Now you could argue how good were the regulations in either place? Should they have been better? Whatever. But there's details coming out now that like the auditors didn't know this was happening. So you kind of have to ask yourself, like if you go to a company, you say, send me your audited financials, and they send them to you. Like, what else do you want?
This is like if you're an athlete and you could beat USADA. You know what I mean? Like every year they find a way to get the roids in the system without being detected.
And they're like, here, I passed my drug test.
You passed. So they were passing the drug test even though they were on the roids.
They don't like right before you run the 100-meter dash at the Olympics, they're not like, take the blood right now, right? So like there's a little bit of that going on, which again, more details will come out, and I think it's important that we find that out over time. But also like the regulations don't always stop bad people. Like if you remember, Bernie Madoff was regulated, right? So part of regulation, which is interesting, is like if people are just flat out lying, usually almost 100% of the time they get caught. But what we find out is like they're able to trick the rules or the regulators for some period of time. And so you can't just say, oh, if it's regulated, it's 100% all good. And what I think in this situation is that like this grew so fast. There were so many different types of organizations involved, from investors to the people they did commercials with, like all this stuff. People just were like, no one even asked the question of like, could the audited financials be wrong? Could this information be wrong? Could they just be potentially misleading people?
So here's what I'm not making the connection on. Seems like we're kind of saying CZ drove the value down intentionally by saying, you know what, this $500 million, I don't think it's worth that, I'm backing out. Did he do that to potentially, I don't know, fuck FTX over and just say it? Or did he see something and FTX was doing a lot of shady shit? You see what I'm saying? Like it seems like there's a bit of a disconnect. Where
to me, it's probably all of the above. Like in these situations, I think people love to have just like a black and white, like good person, bad person. They did this, and this is why like the end result happened. Yeah. But I think what ends up happening is like CZ says, "Hey, I got a bunch of these tokens. I don't think the token's really worth anything, so I'm going to sell them." Okay, that like creates part of the problem. Then it happens that it exposes this other problem, which then compounds, and like then you get this like cascading effect, and the whole thing falls apart.
So I read a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but. I read that the goal for SBF...
Schulz with the internet connection is the most dangerous man in America.
Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. It was a lot of grammar and spelling mistakes in this article, and that made me believe it even more. I was like, yo, this guy's excited to get this piece out. Like, this piece needs to get printed today. So, and basically he was saying that it was going over these donations. A lot have been made about the donations that SBF and FTX and I guess Alameda have made, not only to the Democratic Party, but also to the Republican Party. And of course, any liberal outlet goes, he's just donating to the Republicans, and any conservatives like 50 million to the liberals. Okay, doesn't matter. I've 70 million in total to people in political positions of power.
And verbally had committed that he was thinking about doing a billion in 2024.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he was second in donations to George Soros to the Democratic Party that year.
Yeah.
And
$5
he gave
million
both
to
parties,
Biden.
which is crazy.
Well, he didn't give to both parties. One of his guys gave to the conservatives.
One of the big questions, and I'm not smart enough, nor have I looked into it enough, but like I do wonder how many corporations, if you went and you looked at them plus all their
give to
employees,
everybody.
Like, and some of it's just like, hey, if you're the president and you're the CEO of a company, like you two just may have different politics. So you just give to the party that you support.
Yeah.
Some of it maybe is like more coordinated. I don't know.
It's the politics that help the business, I assume.
Yeah.
You know, like
course.
if you're in the lumber business and one candidate is like, yo, we should chop down some trees, you're like, I'd like to put some money in that guy's pocket.
I've always thought that politicians, they should have to disclose, as they do, who is the biggest donors. And then let's say that you're a politician and you get in because the pharma industry like backs you. You shouldn't be able to have a voice in creating regulation for the pharma industry.
That's interesting.
Right? Like basically say like, hey, you can take money from whoever you want, take as much as you
Your
want.
voice is gone.
But you have to like abstain from the regulation of the industry that paid you to get in there.
Yeah.
In the words of Chris
right?
Rock,
Like-
Really good, yeah.
and they ain't gonna do nothing that fucking dumb. No politician's gonna pass that law. It's like, yeah, let me take the money out of my pocket.
Bro, they can still day trade stocks.
Yeah, that's true.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So basically, what I was reading is that CZ saw that FTX had close connections and was trying to become the first like legal regulated exchange by the United States government. And they would have a huge advantage in the space if they were that. And he saw maybe it was a little bit closer than most people thought. And I mean, they have, obviously there's I think a close connection to one of the people that is on the SEC or the chairman of the SEC through, I think Caroline was the girl. SBF has, you know, political family members or people who have like, I think raised money for Democrats in different parts. So they had these connections. You good? All right. And basically he thought that he was going to use those good connections to regulate that one and then he would be fucked. So he's like, I have to go nuclear right now before they end up getting regulated.
Yeah, the regulation's so crazy because like we have publicly traded exchanges in America. There's publicly traded exchanges in Canada and other places around the world. And so like I think that when people look at this industry and they say there's no regulations, like that's not an accurate statement in my opinion. Like
Then why are they in the Bahamas?
Well, there's regulation there, but I think there's a big difference between the regulation in America versus the regulatory environment there. So what people basically do is they go like regulation shopping. And what they're doing is they're like, who's got the ones that are best? And now to the opposite side, right? Because when you look at these situations, it's easy to have the bombastic take of like, oh, everyone's bad or everyone's good. But I always look at it as like, if you're the country and you're trying to create a certain type of economic development or growth, you have a carrot and a stick. You have taxes, you have regulation.
Yep.
So you can punish people or you can incentivize them.
Yep.
Puerto Rico in America, we basically like, if you move to Puerto Rico, you live there for a while, like you ain't got to pay taxes. Why? We want people to move there so that they will invest in the country, in the territory and do all this stuff. So a lot of these other countries are like, well, shit, why don't we create regulation that will incentivize these people to move? So in that sense, like you can understand the incentive side, but I think that the downside to it is like if you're still using customer funds on the platforms and it creates problems or at least these situations, then people are like, yo, that's not the ultimate goal. Like if you actually believe that doing the right thing by the customer, which I think most people in the industry believe, then you've got to believe that regulation has to meet some criteria in order to ensure people are doing what they're saying they're doing.
I'm curious, if the leak never came out or CZ never made that tweet, could FTX have just kept on floating on like they were?
That's like the multi-trillion-dollar question. Yeah. Right?
Like what would, if nothing stimulated the run, basically, they could have just continued to like take out like user funds with no cost to themselves, right?
It's impossible to know what would have happened, but I think what this goes back to is like, so use the FTX situation, like put it in a box and say like, all right, we kind of sort of understand what's happening there, whether more details will come out. But I think what this really shows, and you've seen people talking about it online, is like, take a system like Bitcoin compared to this. In the FTX situation, people could take the user funds and no one knew, right? It was like hard to tell. But with Bitcoin, it's like very clear. It's like very clear. You can watch them shit move on the fucking blockchain.
Yeah. Right? So can they create a circuit breaker within their own exchange?
That's what I read. That not a circuit breaker, but I read that they created a backdoor. There was like SBF and another dude, and they did the code as well.
Yeah.
And they created a backdoor to like flow the money over to Alameda.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense.
But the crazy thing about this whole Bitcoin, not even Bitcoin, like crypto thing is like for fucking years, everybody's been saying, hey, you can't get away with anything. It's minted on the blockchain. where's this fucking blockchain that shows exactly what SPF is doing, and not SPF, the SBF, and then the rest of them are doing? Like, where is this proof? It should be there, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what happened to the 10 billion? That's the thing, because that money existed.
But like separated out, you have like the Bitcoin system, which is this decentralized thing that everyone's really excited about. And like, in my mind, that is what we were promised, right? Is a blockchain that is truly decentralized. It's this global system. There is no CEO. There is no centralized control. And it's something that you can take control. You take self-custody of the assets. No one else has them. Like, there's all these benefits to it. And then like everything else is basically just recreating finance. And so just like there's bad people doing bad things in regular finance, there's gonna be bad people doing bad things in like crypto world. And so I think just like separating those and like one is a decentralized transparent system, which is like what everyone was promised. And then of course people were like, yo, we could just go recreate finance and do it like all around the world with these coins. And so again, people are gonna play that game whether we like it or not, but that's where the problems come in, right? Because now you just recreated finance. So imagine if you had centralized entities that could create their own money, like, I bet you bad shit would happen, right?
Yeah.
So
But you said the 10 billion was actually there at one time. I thought it was just the evaluation of the
user
company.
funds. They had 10 billion actual dollars.
32 billion was the value of the company, and they had 10 billion of user funds. Unclear what they still have left. I've seen estimates that they're missing 1 billion, 2 billion. I saw one that said 8 billion. I had to read that 3 times to make sure I was reading it right.
They're
like,
missing 8 billion.
Yeah, because I said
it's unclear.
Weren't there like DMs of the guy that they kind of came out and he was like, oh yeah, I just come up with like $6 billion or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it even goes to like down in the Bahamas. Like now it's coming out that there was like use of amphetamines. Right, and they had like a doctor who allegedly was prescribing medicine, like all this stuff. And it's like, okay, if you went to Wall Street in like the 80s or 90s,
there was some
like they're just doing cocaine on the table.
Yeah.
And so like in some ways, a lot of the like non-Bitcoin part of this whole industry is just recreating a lot of what already happened in finance, but now it's just like 20 to 35-year-old kids being like, like basically I missed it, let's do it again.
Yeah, you're not dealing with institutions.
That's the thing about humans. Is like the reason why history is cyclical is because we'll repeat the same things over and over again. If there's an opportunity to make money without doing much, we're going to find it and we're going to exploit it.
By the same things.
Greed.
In this case, greed.
It's greed. And we were talking about this before, but like to me, I'm reading this and I'm like, holy shit, is this the 2008 financial collapse all over again?
This is Madoff.
In the exact. Oh, you think this is made up? See, I think this is 2008.
It's like both.
Or maybe it's both.
It's got like ingredients of both.
But the reason why I thought it was 2008 is because the subprime mortgages were FTT. That token, which was a useless thing that was pegged to a valuable thing. And then everybody believed it was valuable because it was making them money. I believe these subprime mortgages are worth something because you can't lose money owning a home. And the second that dipped, now all of a sudden, well, I got to come for that home. Oh, there are no more
As
homes.
soon as there's a proxy between like the thing that's actually valuable, and I guess in 2008 it's like the CDOs, like those like consolidated debt obligations.
Yep.
It's like we just dump all this shit in this little bin, and then that's actually what you're buying. You know?
Yep.
Somebody's watching this right now being like, what do these motherfuckers know about CDOs?
No, we know nothing.
But here's the part is that you guys are way smarter than most people think.
But until you said that, nobody knew that we didn't know. And now, but now they all know.
Hey, we'll cut it out.
Yeah,
we'll
we
cut
can cut
it out.
that.
Yeah, we'll cut it out. We'll cut that part. And we're back.
So
Okay.
what happens to-
But real quick, just to say, like, and I guarantee that this has happened throughout history. The quickest way to make money is by creating value in something that is otherwise valueless. Right? I mean, like snake oil salesmen. That's what they're doing, right? They're going down the river and they're selling some bullshit. You think it's worth something, make a lick, and then you get the fuck out of here because eventually the bottom's going to fall out of it. And okay, it's sad. At the same time, it's sad that humans repeat the same thing every time, but it also kind of makes me happy that it is a human flaw in a weird way. Like, there's not just like one, you know what I mean? Like you hear about like power dynamics, right? It's just like, it's a function of humanity. Put any human next to the opportunity to make a bunch of money doing absolutely nothing, we're gonna fucking do it. PPP loans, we're gonna do it. Crypto, we're gonna do it. It's like
percentages now that are coming out of like the PPP loan stuff.
Oh, it's
is wild.
crazy.
But also, like again, I always go back. Like, if you were the government and you were told by the politicians and everything, like you got to do this, who could have designed a system that would prevent all the fraud in 3 weeks? Right? So it's like, again, like it's stupid that they engaged in it. It's stupid that they sent it and stuff. But like, these are complex problems. So I always remind myself, like, yo, I don't want any of these people's jobs. Right? I don't want to be the guy. Imagine being the dude who's like, yo, you got to run the PPP program and make sure there's no fraud.
fuck that.
I quit that day, right? I'd be like, yo, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
feel the same about COVID. Like when they're trying to figure it out as the shit is happening and people are dying, and just like the amount of pressure that to make regulations
And then we
at
get
that
mad
time
at every
is
mistake
crazy.
they made.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but my only issue with them is just not acknowledging that they made mistakes. It's like you almost, to use the lady term, gaslighting or whatever. You're almost like gaslighting the public. Like when we go, yo, that shit was a little funky. Like what you just told me last week was a little funky. All you gotta say is, yeah, my bad, it was funky.
Yeah, when's the last time people in finance said, "Oh, we fucked up"?
They don't.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's
Nobody
why it
wants
gets
to ever
frustrating.
do that. Yeah.
And then you just keep on moving along. Yeah. What were you saying?
So the people who had money on FTX, shitcoin and Bitcoin,
yep.
do they get it back? What happens? If it's Bitcoin, based on what you're saying, I assume they get it back. I actually don't have money with FTX, for the record.
So, they filed for bankruptcy, but they filed not just FTX, like everything that they touched. Like I think it was like 130 something entities. So you can imagine, like people are showing up, being like, "All right, what do we got?" And the guy who is the new CEO, he's the same guy who came in when Enron went through bankruptcy. Like,
that, yeah.
like he's been around the block, right?
He's seen the most fucked up shit.
And there's a document that they have to submit pretty early. I think it's within the first 30 or 45 days. And they basically like give kind of lay of the land. Here's where we're at. And he wrote in the one for FTX, he was like, "This is the single worst like corporate situation I've ever seen in my career."
Wow.
Oh shit.
Right? So he's trying to figure out like, what are the entities? Who's involved? How much money do we have? Where is the money? Was there any funky business going on? Where was the funky business? Like, there's all this stuff going on. So again, like that's a guy, I don't want his job, right? But what I do think is a big question here is how much money is left, because that will help determine how much will people get back.
And
remember, lawyers get paid too.
oh, the lawyers good, but it will also determine how much money we're gonna have to ask back from these politicians. If you're Joe Biden, you got $5 million from SBF. And you know that there's like some hardworking contractor out there that saw a lot of people making money on crypto, and he wasn't making money on crypto. And I think like all of us felt that FOMO. It was like, yo, I'm working really hard and my friends are making money on this thing where they're not even working. I want a piece of that. And then they dump their fucking savings into that shit. And then they get rinsed. And you're Joe Biden, you got $5 million. You gotta cough that up.
Can you recall political donations?
So
Is there a precedent for that?
So what's happening now, I think it was, I don't want to say which outlet it was, but one of the like mainstream outlets, they made a whole list of, hey, here's everyone who got donations from the people they could identify that were involved. And then when they asked them, and the politicians, they were like, yo, you got this donation, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna give it back or not? It was like maybe a third of them said they were gonna give it back, and the rest didn't respond at the time that they published. So like, we'll see what happens. But it's definitely not a
Crazy.
good look.
Yeah, you got to give it
Why
back.
would
It's
you,
crazy.
Right? Yeah, I
like,
think
why,
that's
why would you not offer, why would you not refuse it initially? Like, or once, not even initially, once this information has come out, like immediately refuse
I think
it.
they
You don't
asked
want-
them like within 48 hours. Like it was like
So
pretty
they didn't
quick.
even know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
probably.
But with Bitcoin, wouldn't you be able to trace back through the blockchain who initially bought it, and then they would be able to get it back? This is a very rudimentary
So like
understanding. But
in the most general sense, usually in a bankruptcy, what'll happen is people who have a claim. You could have a claim because you gave them, you lent them money. You could have a claim because you're some sort of equity holder that has some like extra, a claim on the business, or you could have assets in as a user. They basically will say, okay, well, here's the pot of money we have. What percentage should you get? And so let's just say, as an easy example, in the Mt. Gox situation, I think people are getting back 25%.
can you tell people Mt. Gox? 'Cause I just heard about this when someone was commenting.
I haven't heard of that.
Mt. Gox is an exchange from back in like 2014 that basically failed. So similar.
Apparently, Bitcoin back when it was like 600 fucking crashed, and it went to like $10 a shit, like a coin.
It was the
And-
biggest exchange, the one everyone used.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of Bitcoin in there. And so they've gone through a similar process as like bankruptcy stuff. And so what happened is people basically got like an IOU, right? Which is like, again, it goes counter to the Bitcoin ethos of like, you can do self-custody, you can hold on to the asset. But because you had it in the exchange, you get an IOU. And those were like, we'll get back to you on how much you're going to get. So let's just say that you had 10 Bitcoin sitting in there at $600 or whatever it was. Now they're giving back 25%. So you'll get 2.5 Bitcoin. Now, for those people, you'd rather have the 10 Bitcoin than the 2.5, but the price of Bitcoin has gone up so much in dollar terms, you're like up, but you'd rather have 10 Bitcoin at, $17,000 or whatever.
What happens to those Bitcoin? If there's only 21 million ever made, and there were 10, and now it's
they could
2.5.
get spent. They could that's where the question is: where did the $2 billion? Let's say that $2 billion is missing from FTX. Where did it go?
But even if you spend it, you have to give it to someone else to spend
bought
it.
it.
It doesn't disappear.
And then
it
he
never
sells it to
disappears.
someone who bought it.
So you got to start. This is what this guy is going to have to try to figure out. Where'd the money go?
And are you confident they'll be able to find it due to the confidence of the blockchain?
I think that the blockchain will be some of it, but like just go through an easy example. So Andrew has an account on an exchange that goes under. They ended up taking his money and they were trading with it. And he had $100 on there worth of, let's just say, FTT. And as they were trading, they lost money. So now that they only have $20 of Andrew's original $100, like technically they didn't give it to anyone. They were just trading and they were bad traders. So there's $80 missing, and Andrew's like, yo, where's my $100? And then the bankruptcy people show up, and they're like, yo, there's only $20 left. Like, here it is.
Right.
Right? So, like, you can't, like, what are you going to go do? Try to figure out, like, which one of his FTT tokens, who did you trade with? Like, they didn't, it's just different than, like, if you took the money and you went and you bought, like, a piece of real estate or you donated it, that's very clear, like, who has it. And then can you get it back? Will they give it back? Like, that becomes part of the process.
Gotcha. Yeah. I guess in that example, I look at FTT and I'm like, oh, that's like a proxy coin that they're making. But like with Bitcoin, are they actually using the actual coins?
So I read something, I don't know how accurate this is, but guess how many Bitcoin they actually ended up having?
How many?
0.
What?
Supposedly, and again,
Wasn't that convenient, Pompliano?
it's very convenient. But it goes back to the narrative of like Bitcoin. Like if you want to do this stuff,
I want to see it.
Bitcoin wouldn't be at all connected with the worst crypto scandal in history.
but this is the whole thing, right? It's like if you wanted to do all the fuckery, right? Remember I said like
Now
Bitcoin has the
Pomp
least
is
amount of fuckery. All the fuckery goes on in the rest of this thing, and so like you don't want to use Bitcoin if you're doing this, right? And why? You can't control the production of Bitcoin. So like you can't play central banker. So like, all right, that's less enticing. And then what they were doing is they were creating what a lot of people in finance would call like paper Bitcoin or wrapped Bitcoin is what the crypto world would call it.
Oh, a coin that's pegged to it, but
They'll
isn't
like,
it?
They like try to move it onto like a different blockchain. And now they have like an Ethereum token that represents Bitcoin. But like, how do you know there's really a Bitcoin? Maybe they could just create more of them. So it's paper like you get in this world where like, if you're the average user, you have no clue 99.9% of this is going on. And so like, again, it's finance. It's the same thing. Like when you put your dollar in the bank, like there's shit that they do that when people hear about it, they're like, yo, they could do that?
Yeah.
Who was the person who was like drunk one night and figured that out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what's going on in this whole other side. So I think like the Bitcoin world, in some ways, the Bitcoiners are very like, we told you so, like keep your coins off of exchanges, like all this stuff, right? Which like, I would say some Bitcoiners are very hardcore and like don't put your stuff on exchanges. There's other people, right, more like me, who is like, look, people are going to maybe keep majority of it off exchanges, but they're still going to want to use the stuff. They're still going to want to earn yield. They're still going to want to participate in finance, whether we like it or not. They're going to want to do it, and so it's more about like the responsibility. Don't put everything somewhere, right? If you're going to do it with 1, 3, 4, 5%. Don't do it with 100%. So I think that that's the world that like now people are starting to realize like, okay, hold on a second. Bitcoin is different, which is unfortunate we have to go through this. It's not the first time it's happened, but usually what ends up happening is the net gain of Bitcoiners through this whole process is like very
Because now they're
obvious.
not messing with these other tokens.
I saw a guy wrote a whole thread. He's like a hardcore Bitcoiner now. And he was like, yo, back in the day I got burnt, but I didn't learn my lesson. I had to touch the stove twice.
Interesting.
Right? And he was like, and by the second time I got burnt, I was like, yo, I'm just into Bitcoin.
Because it's so fucking enticing, man. I'm telling you. Like, I would see Akaash making money through it, and it would piss me off. And I ended up buying a bunch of fucking Bitcoin strictly because Akaash was making all this money doing nothing, and I was working my ass off for money. It drove me fucking crazy.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, this guy has some of my Bitcoin.
Akaash and I are in the same boat. We're waiting to see what happens.
All right, guys, we're gonna take a break for a second because today's amazing episode of Flagrant is sponsored by Market Mondays, live at the Hulu Theater, starring Ian Dunlap. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to crew. They have a live show at the Hulu Theater, amazing venue. This is inside Madison Square Garden, by the way. You know, we used to call this the Garden, the theater at the Garden. Now they're calling it the Hulu Theater, but magnificent venue. And if you want to know how to get rich during the recession and you're tired of not knowing how to make money in the stock market, then get your tickets to Market Mondays live at Hulu Theater, November 27th, starring Ian Dunlap, the master investor, and EYL, earn your leisure. And now at this show, Ian's going to teach you the 25 safest stocks to invest in, the 50 stocks to stay away from that will cause you to lose all of your money, how to spot a crypto scam, and his formula on how to make $22,000 in a day from trading. Okay, other special guests include billionaire Don Peebles, who will be sharing his secrets on real estate, Peter Tuchman, the Einstein of Wall Street, who will give his hedge fund formula on how to beat the market, Mouse Jones of Trap Karaoke, and a special performance by the legendary Jada Kiss. What a evening. I mean, this is crazy. So if you want more money, more free time, and a timeless blueprint to make money in any market, then go to Ticketmaster and get your tickets to Market Mondays live right now. Now let's get back to the show. Today's episode is brought to you by PayPal Honey, the easy way to save when you're shopping on your iPhone or your computer. Listen. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about holiday shopping. That shit sucks, bro.
Agreed.
That shit sucks, dude.
Agreed.
Buying things for people that are not me is not good.
You gotta start.
Nah, I never. I wait to the end, man. I honestly, no, in all seriousness, I like buying things for the people I care about, but it could be a pain in the ass, especially around the holidays. It's so packed, you know what I mean?
Then you panic because you bought late, and then there's probably promo codes, but you too stressed to look them up.
Bro, that's so true. And honestly, it's like there's never sales around the holidays. But you know what?
Like
It does seem like it because there are sales.
Ooh.
There are. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. That's right. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Think about that. You want to buy something online, all you have to do is use Honey and they will find the coupon codes for you. It is really that simple. Imagine you're shopping one of your favorite sites. When you check out, the Honey button appears and all you have to do is click apply coupons. That's it. You wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site. Now, if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices absolutely drop. I'm just telling you right now, you're gonna save some money. It's hilarious.
I've used it before.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, bought shoes.
Really?
$20 off a $100 purchase.
Think about
Bang,
that,
bang,
and you
bang,
didn't have
bang.
to do shit.
Didn't do nothing.
All the coupons already exist out there, but you're not using them because you're not on Honey. All you have to do is get on Honey, you use them, and you're gonna save all that money. Think about that. That savings is absolutely crazy. You can save even more when you ask Honey to keep track of price drops on your holiday shopping list. Think about that right now. You already have the list. Ask them to keep track of the price drops. And if the price drops on anything on your list, you'll instantly get an alert and let you know. They're gonna tell you when it's the cheapest time to buy your things. This thing is absolutely amazing, okay? So if you don't already have Honey, you can be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Now, we never recommend anything that we're not using ourselves. So get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/flagrant. That's joinhoney.com/flagrant. Get it, get some savings. And then you're absolutely welcome. Now let's get back to the show. Now, did you yank yours off and put it on Ledger?
Nah, I'm going down with the shit, man.
Wait, really? You just keep it on?
Yeah. I mean, I've read the news, and this is the thing, like, there's a lot of people who are all upset about a whole bunch of different things.
No, when I said yank yours off, I meant like put it on your own private.
Nah.
You keep your Bitcoin.
No. Like, the things that I had on the platforms, right? Because you got to remember, like, I worked we had advertising deals with some of these people, and like an advertising deal is no different than you guys, Athletic Greens, I think I've seen you guys advertise, right? If all of a sudden it's something that was wrong with the Athletic Greens product, it's not like y'all are in the fucking science lab being like, let me test this or whatever.
Yeah.
But you would still be like, damn, that is somebody who we worked with, right?
Yeah.
Now in this case, it appears to be that it was misleading or fraudulent. They tricked a lot of people that are way smarter than me. But still, at the end of the day, it's like, yo, if people are going down, fuck it, right? And so I left the shit on there and like, we'll see what happens.
No.
If the shit's going down, I'm getting the fuck off the shit.
Why are you playing music on his ass? Put down a cello, fam.
Yeah, but it's
Kick that bitch off the wood and grab that shit.
So I think
Believe this for a second.
for real.
No, I left all of it on exchanges. I'm the man of the people. I'm the Bitcoiner of the people. I'm in solidarity with you. This is a lot. You said it yourself. Real Bitcoiners are like, put your shit on a ledger.
Yeah.
You gotta have some on a ledger.
No. I think everybody in Bitcoin does self-custody. What I'm saying is like the same thing that when people would ask me, I was doing as well, right? Is like, yo, I don't want to just sit and hold the asset 100% of it. So what I would do is I would take some and I would put on a platform to earn yield, or I would have it on like if there's payment apps, right? I would have some sitting on the payment app so that I could send it to people when I wanted to send it rather than have to go get it at a cold storage. Like at the end of the day, security and convenience, there's a trade-off. And as much as we want to live in a world where everyone takes security, as the utmost responsibility, convenience.
I believe that you had it all on there until I noticed one thing.
What?
It's the ring on your finger right here. There's no way your wife would let you leave all that shit on BlockFi.
My wife is the biggest Bitcoin maximalist that I know.
Exactly.
She's like, all this other shit's bullshit.
Exactly why. She's just throwing ledgers up in the air. What are they called? Ledgers?
Ledgers.
Yeah. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, she believes in Bitcoin. I still have my
When you're
Bitcoin.
asleep,
I haven't sold a single cent.
sticks a cold storage drive up your nose.
Good thing we took it off, man.
No, but I do think that it's really important to call out, like, I think what we just saw over the last really 8 months or so, because it wasn't just this one, there was other ones as well, is that there's a huge difference between decentralized systems and centralized systems. And, what you guys are hitting on is like the centralized systems are just recreating Wall Street. And like, just like people get fucked in Wall Street, they're getting fucked here. And like, similar to what this guy said online of like, you have to touch the stove a couple times before people realize, is that there's a lot of people who, they do some of the self-custody, some of the ledger stuff, whatever, but they're still playing around here. I think that now this was a wake-up call to a lot of people, and they're like, yo, fuck this other crypto stuff, all this other stuff. I'm gonna stick with Bitcoin, which like maybe that's the silver lining in this, but still it sucks. Like the whole situation sucks.
Now I'm curious, why wouldn't like Binance or one other exchange try to buy or acquire FTX if this is disrupting the entire market in general?
Oh shit! By letting it fail, it ends up hurting Binance as well.
Yeah, like they should see it and be like, because like obviously if they go away, then they can monopolize and like they're aggregating more market share. But you could just acquire them, keep everything hush.
The financials are so messy.
Binance did. So when CZ tweeted and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna dump the token," FTX was kind of like, they were rocking. They were a little unsteady, and so they announced it wasn't a definitive agreement, but they announced that Binance had intentions to buy FTX. And then within like 24 hours, CZ was like, "Nah, this shit's too messed up. We're walking away." And then they failed and filed for bankruptcy.
And that was why I thought he tweeted the 500 million FTT thing, because he was gonna buy it, but he was like, "No."
Yeah, I mean, like, you got to remember, these people are, they're wealthy. That there's a lot of pride. There's real businesses at stake here. Like, it's no different than one of the greatest CNBC clips of all time is Bill Ackman calls in live, and Carl Icahn is on as well. I don't know if y'all ever seen this. You got two billionaires, and they're screaming at each other on the phone, and you can hear in the background the traders on the Wall Street stock exchange floor. Whenever one of them says something crazy, they're like, "Yeah!" It's like, yo, this is like egos too, right?
Yeah. Massive egos.
Yeah, now it's just like they don't call into a national media outlet. They're like doing the shit on Twitter.
Yo, that's so true.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Another
they used to do it on fucking, what was the, not Jim Cramer show, but like, what is MSNBC or some shit?
Yeah. They do them all.
And they just beef with one another, and now it's done on Twitter, way more eyeballs.
You guys are pioneering like kind of a new type of talk show and like going direct to the people, all this stuff. But also during this entire saga, there's a couple of people. There's like there's an account called Autism Capital, which is like a pseudonymous account. There's a kid, Dylan LeClaire. There's a couple of these folks who like they were breaking the news like by the minute. People were DMing them things. They were like, "I'm a former employee. Here's this. Like, oh, I saw this piece of information." And so, like, in some way, Twitter became the show. So you're watching it and you're like, this isn't the mainstream media, like, writing up the article.
Do you think that there's a lack of empathy for people who have lost money in this because so many people weren't invested in crypto and they kind of resented that a lot of people were making money out of it?
And the people who had crypto rubbed it in.
Oh, huge. They acted like they were experts.
So, you got your comeuppance.
Well, you got compounding things, right? So, like, the price of all the assets fell before this happened. It was already down. So you already had the, like, critics, the anti-crypto people. They're dancing on graves, right? They loved it. We told you it was worthless. Whatever, fuck them.
I saw you covering different shit. You were talking about This guy was talking about the Jets or something. I was like, oh, Bitcoin down, baby.
Giants.
The
Giants.
down.
It's a sports show now.
No, but
I
like
thought that was Joe that was doing
No,
that.
his brother does.
Or does he have you working for him now because you're broke?
what did he say?
What does he have you working for him now?
I might need a job. Huddle up.
Your brother's stuff, like, no, hey,
Brothers,
check
I told
out
him.
Joe Pompliano's
He's
stuff.
legit.
He
He's
does
amazing.
this. It's this amazing convergence between like money and sport, which is obviously there, but like he does these great like minute-long videos on Twitter. He's also on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
And TikTok. You should be
YouTube,
on all of
yeah.
it, but it's great. Like the content
great.
is
Put it
phenomenal.
this way, I knew that I was in trouble when he started sending me screenshots of the analytics comparing us, and he's like, "I'm gonna catch you." I'm like,
That's why he's here.
Take that, Joe. Don't go follow that.
I'm curious, could FTX have just disclosed and said, hey, we're using user funds? Like, could they have just come out and said that?
So
and then,
there's other platforms that did do that.
That's
Like
my
that-
point. Like, why couldn't they have just done that and disclosed it?
And everybody's making money, so they're not going to ask questions. They're going to
Yeah,
use.
like-
I'm getting 15%. Use away.
Yeah.
I think that people who were using that platform were using it to trade, and with the understanding that they weren't doing anything with the user funds, and so it was deemed like safer, right?
Oh shit! How can I trade my shit if you're trading my shit?
Another good question, yeah. So, like, if you think about the reason why people were allowing companies to lend out their assets is because they were getting paid really high rates of return. So if they're going to say to you, hey, I'll pay you 10%, right? I'll just make up a number, 10% yield. Well, then you're like, maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not. But if they say, we're not going to touch your stuff and we're not going to pay you anything, there's a lot of people who are just like, I don't want it, just don't touch my stuff, let me trade, and like, we're
Just to
good.
clarify, 10% yield is basically just leaving the coins on the exchange. The exchange pays you so that they can go trade their shit out. No different than a bank that gives you, what is it, AYP or something like that?
APY, yeah.
Or APY, yeah. Okay.
And that's
but
what-
Mark's point is interesting, though. Like, if they just acknowledged it, then everybody would be taking on that risk. And if the money got flushed down the toilet, that was the risk that you took.
Yeah, but I guess that was their competitive edge in the market space.
Is that you were getting the yield without the risk.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Well, now it was a risk, but they were marketing it as if there's none.
Right.
Yeah, like terms of service, from what I understand, just basically said, we don't touch it. We don't invest it. We don't touch it.
But I guess that's where you pivot. You do that for 3 years to eat up market share, and then after a little bit, you go, yeah, we're going to start using funds. And then
Just
people.
add that into the user agreement.
Yeah, and then
nobody knows.
some people will start pulling it off, but then you can now basically like fractionally reserve your own coins and shit.
I feel like I'm going to get home and there's going to be the flagrant crypto exchange launch.
I mean, Akaash wanted us to do this so badly when we were in Miami. You wanted a flagrant coin.
I did.
Flagrant coin?
I did.
No,
Yeah,
don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Just stick with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Why hasn't anybody else just made Bitcoin?
Huh?
Why hasn't anybody else just made another version of Bitcoin?
Well, there's a lot of people who tried. I mean, there's people who say that they created Bitcoin.
No,
There's people
not
who-
like that. I guess what I'm saying is like just create a limited number of them.
No, they did.
And what, it just didn't
They
take
all
off in the
were-
same way?
No, there are. It's when you think of like tech innovation, the true innovation is where all the value accrues, right? So it's like a lot of times people use the terminology 0 to 1. Like it's the actual innovation is where the value is, and so that's what Bitcoin did. And you have to remember too, like now if somebody launched a coin, there's like every degenerate in the world is like looking around on the internet, like, well, who got the coins? Where are the coins? Where's the new coin, right? So you're attracting people who are like more mercenaries than missionaries. In the early days of Bitcoin, at first there was no price. There was no exchange. There was no anything. Like people who wanted it were like
They believed
super
in the
technical.
technology.
They
Interesting.
got it, they mined it,
Yeah,
and
they're
then they
missionaries, right?
bought it, drugs on the internet with it. And then that was the game. My sister bought mushrooms for like 5 Bitcoin back in like 2011.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's like a true story. I swear
Get
to God.
the fuck
Yeah, she told me
outta
this
here.
recently. She was like, "Yeah, I bought it on
like 100 grand.
on Silk Road." Yeah, it wasn't that many Bitcoin, but yeah, it was like half a Bitcoin or full Bitcoin or something.
There's that story about the guy buying a slice of pizza or something like that
Yeah.
for 10 Bitcoin.
yeah,
No, 10,000 Bitcoin.
What?
He spent on 2 pizzas.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like hundreds of millions of dollars today.
We have zero compassion.
No, it is true. People, I feel like,
It was the first transaction in history where somebody like used it to buy something. He like went online. He was like, "Yo, if I send someone Bitcoin, like, will you get me a pizza?" And I think if I remember correctly, they like called a Domino's or whatever pizza place in his hometown and was like, "Will you bring this dude a pizza? I'll pay for it." And then they sent him the 10,000 Bitcoin.
Crazy.
does that dude still have the Bitcoin? Is he still a holder?
I'm not sure
He has a lot of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Bitcoin. They've asked the guy who spent the 10,000 Bitcoin. And he's like, "No, I don't regret it at all," because he's like, Bitcoin probably wouldn't have become what it became unless we started to use it, which I think is what you have to tell yourself if you're the guy.
So he doesn't blow his fucking head off.
The guy that's not in the Beatles anymore, he's like, best thing that ever happened.
Yeah, love my life. Love my fat kid, my fat wife.
Bitcoin's down.
Yeah.
Are you buying more?
I have been buying more. I'm always going to buy more. And it's just like nothing about Bitcoin has changed.
I didn't sound as confident as you were in my
Listen,
Yo, it's a different confidence, bro.
I'm in like the 11th. I'm in the 11th round of a 12-round fight. I've been getting punched all year, right? And I'm like, yo, man, I'm still here. All right, let's go. Whatever. But if you think about Bitcoin, all I keep looking at is like the underlying fundamentals are exactly the same. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, what does that mean, or whatever. It's just like, think of a company who is doing it the same or more in whether it was revenue or sales or whatever metric you want to look at, but the stock price went down. Some people would be like, yo, stock price down, I'm out. Okay, that's fine. But the people who would look at the actual company and say, hey, I like this, it's doing the things I want it to do, I just think that it's a cheaper price for the same company, they'll buy. So like that's where the market ends up, like that's where people express their view. There's a lot of people buying because there's two stats that just blow my mind. The amount of Bitcoin in the last 12 months that hasn't moved is almost 70%. So 70% of the Bitcoin people are holding, even though the price went down 75%.
So people believe it's going back up.
They're not fucking selling, right? They're not moving it. So like that's an interesting stat. And then the second one is on chain, like on the blockchain, you can see the wallet addresses with 0.1 or 0.01 Bitcoin. So think a couple $100 to a couple $1,000. The number of those wallets keep hitting all-time highs, meaning that it's not Wall Street guys buying. It's like the small little people are saying, hey, I buy $20 every week. Now I've got $200, $300, $500 worth of Bitcoin, right, in this wallet. And so, like, I think that those are signals that there is some portion of the kind of holder base or the Bitcoiners that just, they're still buying. It's just not, hundreds of millions of dollars like we saw with the Wall Street guys were coming in.
And what is the FTX lesson for traders, but also for exchanges?
Traders, I think, are just going to be traders. Like, they should learn things. I just don't think they're going to. I think they're going to keep trading.
What should they learn, though?
It's just don't keep your assets on the exchange, right?
I gotta get my shit off. My shit's still on. Is Coinbase still around? Is it?
Yes.
It is?
Coinbase, I've heard, is legit. Like, yeah.
Yeah?
My friend who got me.
Tom Brady thought that shit was legit too. Thought FTX.
No, I had most of mine.
That's the clip. They got him.
Yeah.
They got him.
I had most of mine.
I'm getting my
on,
shit off today. The fact that you said that, I'm getting that shit off today. This motherfucker gave me spell coin for my birthday, bro.
Yeah.
Spell
What's it called?
Yeah.
You made
Spell
it?
token. Yeah.
You made it?
Look, he didn't even hear.
I should have. I should have made it.
You heard it was legit, right?
Yeah. Yo, Akaash a broken man right now, bro.
I got most of mine on a cold storage. Most of my Bitcoin on a cold storage. But my friend was like, don't worry about your Coinbase, because I have some on Coinbase. Now, BlockFi, not doing so well. Definitely lost some there. And then Voyager, that's on Mark Cuban, the list, not on you. You know what I mean?
Damn, you just got a whole fucking hit list?
Yeah, no. It's two people.
It's good company, though. It's good company for you to be in. You and Cuban, that's great.
I think that's the big lesson. Take your stuff off the exchanges. Learn about self-custody. Like, one of the pieces of advice I've given people for a long time, we did a lot of work with Ledger, and I used to say, like, just take $5 of Bitcoin and move it into self-custody. Move it into cold storage. Like, learn how this stuff works.
I can't even move that shit to my new iPhone, bro. My shit
That's
is
why
on
you should
my
start with
old
five.
iPhone still.
But that's why you should start with $5 is because there are...
Well, you didn't say that last fucking time when I put 60,000 in for a Bitcoin. You didn't say start with $5. Remember that? Son of a bitch.
You're still down, right?
Say what?
You have to still be down.
What am I? Yeah.
He
Am
bought
I
it
down?
at the day of the peak. I think his button push was the downfall of the peak.
I literally hit it. The podcast came out the next day, and the whole world was like, "Ooh, Schultz all in on something."
Literally, that was the turning point.
I think the part in the conversation was when you confused 14% with 0.14% return.
That shit looked mad similar, bro. That shit, I was reaping rewards. You could say I got boomer stocks and all that shit. I was feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
I was like, 14, take that. And that was 0.14.
You're like, 14%?
Yeah, I crossed my legs and everything, bro.
How are your boomer stocks doing? Are they
Yo,
up?
Warren Buffett's killing it, right? Don't you want to have cash right now? Isn't cash king?
I mean, to a degree, yeah, all the assets go down in value, but also it's a weird time.
Cash also kind of gone down if inflation's at 9%.
No, but the American dollar, it's buying power versus the other currencies in the world, right? So our dollar right now, I think, is the strongest.
That's why it's complex, right? It's like there's inflation. So if you go back to
say sorry to Warren, son.
Sorry to Warren.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah,
yo.
where's that?
Sorry to Warren.
Where's that? Yo, fuck fiat. Fuck all
Yeah,
that shit.
I'm
Where's
not
that?
crazy, son.
Yo.
on, bro.
Yo, what's going on, bro?
Dirty sneakers on. What's going on right now, yo?
The stat that Warren needs to learn about is Warren is
What is
up
Warren
like
doing? Tell Warren what he needs to learn about.
about
Why don't you
30%.
tell Warren what he needs to learn about?
I think he's
okay?
up like 30%.
30%.
That's
Since
pretty
the
good.
pandemic. Bitcoin's up 2x. So if Warren had just converted all his fucking money to
whose
Bitcoin,
Bitcoin's up 2x. I'm gonna start drinking out. Give me some alcohol, son. Give me some goddamn alcohol. Hold on.
you up during the pandemic?
Yo,
let's go.
2x? I'm up 2x? Give me
No,
that
you're
shit.
not.
Yeah.
Son, every time I purchased, it went down. And I tried to go.
Well, tell me when you're going to purchase next.
Bro, I stopped listening to you. I've lost less and less, but I bought that shit. I remember it was in my hand.
Oh,
but
you
it's
lost
actually
less and
done.
less because it kept going down?
Yeah. No, but I bought it 60 like a fucking baboon with you, and then that
too.
shit hit like 35, and it was during a podcast, right? And I was like, I called my wife. I was like, it's never going this low again. I tried to buy. You know me, when I try to buy, it takes me about 4 or 5 times to actually get the shit to go through. So I bought at 35. By the end of the podcast, 28.
Oh my god.
No, I was fucked, but we drinking. So it is what it
You know what's
is.
better than making money with your friends? Losing money with your friends. You know what?
Losing money's fire.
That shit is
Fun,
fun.
dog.
When everyone's losing money
Fun.
together,
Time.
Can I tell you something that'll make you feel a little bit better about losing money?
Sure.
You should talk to your accountant about this, but
Yeah.
you can sell
Yes, this is the thing.
your Bitcoin
Yeah.
before the end of the year and book whatever the loss is. So you take that off your taxes
And then just
buy it back. Now, they may change the rules at some point in the
You have to
future.
wait 30 days,
And
and you can only write off $3,000 a year.
so
You
there-
can carry that forward.
There's things that you should talk to the
Let me
accountant.
interrupt you. How long you known this information?
Couple weeks. Couple weeks.
This is amazing, man.
That's wild.
That's amazing that you were just sitting on that information
But I
while I'm
haven't
sitting
done
here
it yet.
bleeding out money.
the
But I haven't
audacity.
done it yet because I don't know if it's worth it yet. I'm still trying to figure
Oh,
out.
well, it'd be nice if I could figure that out. It'd be nice if I had that info. I'm telling you about G-Wagons for fucking 2 years.
Son, I already knew about G-Wag.
Well, fuck you for not telling me. Why don't you tell me nothing, bro?
How do you know everything?
This guy don't tell me nothing.
What the fuck?
I told you about Bitcoin.
Can we just keep doing this? Like, we'll do it like once a year. For a while. No, listen, and then we'll just count up who lost more money by the end.
Jesus Christ. Can we invest in anything? Is there another like sport, paddle? Let's get a paddle team.
Did y'all look at the pickleball teams?
Yeah, or pickleball. We could do pickleball.
Man,
Son, I ain't doing nothing else Tom Brady endorsing.
Is this why Tom's still playing?
somebody asked.
No, for real.
Motherfucker
I heard he
bought
put
FTX
600
and
million
sold
in
on
FTX.
Giselle?
Nah,
You're
listen,
the worst investor ever.
People, hopefully nobody gets mad about this, but somebody offered us early on. They were like, "Yo, y'all want to buy a pickleball team?" And so me and Joe, I got an in-house sports expert. I was like, "Hey, is this good sport,
Yeah.
bad sport?" He's
Yeah.
like, "It's growing fast, all this stuff."
Amazing content.
I said, "If we buy the team, what do we have to do?" And at the time, you had to be the GM and the coach. I was like, "Bro, what? Come on, are we gonna recruit players? How do we call the plays? Like, I don't
Can
know
we
how
buy
to do
the
this."
Miami Arena naming rights, though?
Y'all probably could.
Yeah.
Bang Bros tried to buy it for $10 million now.
That's
Yeah, I
fire.
saw
They're
it.
trying to scoot in on
That's
the fire sale.
So on these arena rights, we looked them up on when I was doing KFC on Barstool. It's like a couple million. That's an investment. You know what I mean? Flagrant 2 stadium.
Flagrant 11 mil
Flagrant
a year.
stadium.
That's a 10% higher bid than Bang Bros.
Son, Flagrant Stadium, fire. Flagrant Arena, you perform there?
Yeah.
Fire. Fuego.
I'm not
Tax
doing
write-off.
that. Is it
Tax
really?
write-off.
It's a marketing expense.
Hey, look. Hey, you know there's a tax write-off if you buy an arena?
Except for you don't own the arena, you just own the name.
Yeah, you know. That's
No,
what
but
I
if
said.
you got the name, it's
You
yours.
own the arena.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right.
mine. That's Daddy's arena.
Yeah, that's daddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't you own your wife? Like, you know what I mean? Like, shots of Tate, you know what I mean? Like you do technically because it's got the name. They got the name. They do have the name, right?
Bro, how
No,
are you
wait,
still
guys,
on
that's
the
how it
internet?
works. You own your wife.
Yeah, technically.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, you all gonna be in
What
the
do you mean?
doghouse. You own your wife too.
If they own their wife, I own my wife. I'm gonna be the bitch not owning his wife.
That's not up to us. That's up to God, bro. Why would God make it like
That's
that?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
nah.
God's rule, bro.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. Do you own your girl?
yeah. Hey,
Hey, you
Yo,
own your
y'all
girl?
should,
Hey,
y'all should do a
no,
wife
I don't.
hey, your
episode.
girl is looking for ownership, Al.
He buy a pickleball team first.
Hey, let's see who gets in trouble now.
Out out here working on his girl.
Flagrant has gone on a 4-week hiatus.
We all in the doghouse.
Oh, this is what it is. Sip it up. Yo, you want some?
Are you buying more now?
Bitcoin. Don't even
Bitcoin?
worry about it, bro.
Am I buying more? I thought about it, to be honest with you.
That's a no.
That's a no.
You see what a voice?
That's what
I just said I want my wife and she won't let me buy more Bitcoin.
No, I thought about it.
And what was the thought?
I thought about buying it, and then I thought
buy
against
more?
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
G's up, dog. G's up.
You
We going
didn't,
down with
you
this
ain't
shit.
really buying more,
I
bro.
bought more, dog.
No, you didn't. You didn't buy no more fucking Bitcoin.
Did you buy Bitcoin or did you buy Doge?
Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin.
All right, because I
I
think
bought
last
Bitcoin
time.
and then Voyager folded and froze my Bitcoin. So let's figure out what happens here.
Wait, you bought it on Voyager?
I bought some on Voyager, some on Coinbase.
Why would you mix up
can I
the
say-
exchange?
Because yo, this is how all in I was 3 weeks ago. Is you could only put a certain amount per day in, and I was like, I'm putting that much in Coinbase, and I'm putting more in Voyager.
Whoa.
I love Akaash, but I gotta tell you all this story. He DM'd me the other day, and he goes, "Yo," and I was like, "Oh boy." Then we started texting, and he was basically like, "Hey man, so I got a lot of different accounts, and like that was probably a smart decision. The only problem is that every single account I got, the company's folded." He went for like straight up like 3 for 3.
G's up. G's up. BlockFi, Voyager, Coinbase. These are my three.
No, Coinbase is not.
Coinbase is fine. No, you're still good on Coinbase. So you went 2 for 3. 2 for 3.
You're not even on Coinbase. You're on iPhone 12
I'm
or
gonna be
whatever your
honest
shit
with
is
you.
on.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know if that phone got battery left. I told we had Marquez. I almost called Marquez Houston. Marquez Brownlee. We had Marquez Brownlee. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
The tech guru on the fucking thing. And he's talking and
You
he
got
was
Bitcoin?
no, but he was telling us
Probably.
about how sometimes like the phone battery starts to swell
Yeah.
and.
I had the FBI agent who
Yeah.
did the
Crack the code?
the Silk Road arrest, and he said that at the
At the thing? What do you mean?
You said I had the FBI agent. You said that cracked the code. Like what? It's just like
what code?
Like
What?
So on
Remember
your
when
arrest,
Apple wouldn't let the San Bernardino terrorists, they wouldn't let them open a phone? Remember Apple wouldn't let them do that?
shitty sitcom dialogue. He's like,
And then FBI came in, and one of them had to crack that code. Maybe it was your boy. Maybe it's your boy cracked that.
You got it, bro.
That's literally what I thought it was.
Y'all
You
don't
don't remember this?
Y'all don't remember this from 9 years ago one time?
You don't remember the big story? Apple wouldn't do it. What do you think the code was?
nah, so listen, they go to arrest the
What do you
guy
think
for
the code
Silk
was?
Road.
9/11 or
And they
something?
had
Did they just try that? Did they try doing that in the code? You know, maybe
I
that
love y'all, but one day you gonna call me and be like, we're done. We're gonna be like,
No, but they had a guy who was there, and his
Yeah.
only job, this FBI guy said, he said the only job was this guy's to keep the computer alive. I was like, what do you mean? He said when they took the computer from the Silk Road guy, they slid it down the table, and this dude's job was to sit there, and he had like 1 million battery packs, he had all the adapters, and he just kept hitting the space button like this because they didn't know if it would auto lock or whatever. His job was just to keep the computer on. So it's like, it's not, yeah, maybe the batteries swell, but like it's a real thing.
but what happens if that phone dies and that's where all my shit is?
Akaash has your Bitcoin.
Did you really?
What? Why would you even?
I'd be more happy, to be honest with you. I'd be more happy if I knew someone who had it.
can it be
instead of
on a
me.
phone? That's what I
I
don't
don't even know where my phone is, bro.
Son, it's on the app. I don't even
Yeah.
understand how.
What do you mean?
I don't know how to
How can
I
it
don't
be
know how to
on
log
the
in.
phone? Like it's on like the photos.
Bro, they got
No.
Coinbase, they got Coinbase Pro. I don't know how to use that shit. So I got some shit on Coinbase, some shit on Coinbase
on
Pro.
that phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know new password.
He hasn't been able to bring it to the door.
And I don't want to do too many wrong passwords and
Yeah,
just
and
shut the
then
whole
it
fucking
locks
thing
it out.
down.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got to do my face.
Just promise me that you won't go to like one of these experts that's like password recovery, and then next thing you know, you can't find your Bitcoin because they have your password.
Oh yeah.
So like that. Here's another tip: is if you're going to do the ledger,
I'm going to lose that shit. Where do I do with the ledger?
Well, hold on a second.
I'm going to lose it.
Just when you buy it, make sure you buy it from the company. Don't buy it off a reseller on Amazon.
Oh, fuck.
Because somebody could have bought it, put some malware on it, and then resell it. And then now they've got a back door, so you want to buy it from the company. That's another
This
key
is so
thing.
stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to end
avoid
up...
the place that Biden's son went to. Avoid that spot.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Avoid that
That's
one.
not-
Or
You
is
were-
that confirmed now? Like, or is that like a real thing? Or are they still saying that's not real?
You were friends with him.
With who?
You were friends with Hunter. We know about this.
Good times.
Tell us the good times in Miami you and Hunter had. Just smoking out thoughts. Back in the day. Back in the day. Before the, back in the day.
This is his attempt. He's like, shit, I said I own my wife. I gotta remember.
That's why something to say while we got my so to say. I'm just saying, God damn, this is stressful.
It is crazy though that the media is
the
they
media.
censor so much different things.
Wait, hold on.
But now that Elon owns Twitter, it won't happen.
Can I? Did you know SBF? You ever meet him?
I interviewed him before.
All right, guys, we take a break for a second because I got to make sure that your peck is looking good for the holidays. Let's just be serious right here. Let's just be serious. You cannot have that bush going crazy. I don't care how cold it is. I don't care what the climate you're dealing with is right now. Not for the holidays. Holiday dick got to be smooth, yo. Holiday dick got to be smooth. And the way you make it smooth is with Manscaped, okay? That lawnmower 4.0, that shit is nip-tucking, bro. It is getting those edges, trimming them pubes. Sometimes it comes down to the thigh meat. You got to trim around there as well. Maybe trim up by your belly button. We don't know what you're working with, but it's got to be nip-tuck. It's got to be scissored up. It's got to be faded up. The head got to look like Mace. You gotta have a head that looks like Mace. Harlem World. You pull off your underwear, it should go Harlem World. The point that I'm trying to make is Manscaped is gonna be the one to get you there. Now, they've got all these amazing things. I mean, look, they got the crop exfoliator. You know your dick not exfoliated as much as it should be. They got that crop gel. Amazing, okay? They got the razors. They got absolutely everything. It's amazing. You treat your balls, treat your junk right, save some time. Literally save time. That's what it does for me, saves time. You wanna be in and out of there with all these different utensils. No, voop, 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 and you're done. Ready to pack box. That's what you need to be ready for the holidays. And the way you're gonna do it is you're gonna do it with a nice 20% off discount and free shipping at manscaped.com/flagrant. That's 20% off with the free shipping at manscaped.com/flagrant. Make sure your dick looks delicious, okay? So it gets sucked on like a Christmas candy cane. You're very welcome for that. Let's get back to the show. Listen, y'all need tickets. Y'all needed tickets this past weekend to Akaash sold out shows at Caroline's. You know what I mean? You couldn't get them. Maybe if you were on SeatGeek, you could. SeatGeek has got your back, okay? All you need to do is look at the dots. They got the red dots, not talking about the ones at Akaash's show. I'm talking about the way that you know that the tickets are too expensive and not a good deal. They also got the green dots. Those are the green dots. They let you know that that's a great deal. You should gobble up that ticket if you can. Green and red, you just look at it. Stop and go. Anything you need. You need comedy shows. You need sport events. You need shit. I bet Taylor Swift tickets are about to be up on SeatGeek one of these days.
Yup.
I don't know that for a fact, but I imagine you might be able to get some Taylor Swift tickets if they do come out. All I'm trying to say is anything you need is over at SeatGeek. And you know what we're going to do? I mean, we're going to make this right here for you. We're going to give you a little discount. I got to say we're going to do it. We're going to have to hook you up. Flagrant. You use the code Flagrant, you can get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. $20 off your purchase with the promo code Flagrant. Think about that. Now get a seat in a little bit better section. Get a little bit closer to the action because you support this show, okay? Go out there, get them tickets, and enjoy your goddamn life. Now let's get back to the show.
Also, guys, I need to tell you about some dates I got. December 1st, I'm gonna be in Tempe, Arizona. And January 14th, super excited about this, I'm going to be at the Wilbur Theater. We will sell these tickets out. You need to get them now. And January 21st and 22nd, I'm gonna be in Vegas. I'm not supposed to announce that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Who cares? Get your tickets at akashsing.com. Now let's get back to this.
Did you know SBF? You ever meet him?
I interviewed him before.
And
Yeah?
what'd you think?
What was your takeaway? Seriously, in the moment, what'd you think of this guy?
My interaction with him was, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever, when I interviewed him. And he was just like a normal dude. I mean, I've interviewed a bunch of these people, right? So like, there was nothing at the time where it was like, oh, this is like crazy. But I think also I saw somebody put like a montage where when he first started back in 2018, 2019, then a couple years later, like, there's physical differences. There's like, you could just tell like he's kind of just like a little bit more agitated. And so you got to remember that like, if you take a snapshot of somebody at one point in time, It's not the same person that they are, a year, 2 years later, whatever. And I think what's crazy is that like this dude was on stage at a conference with all kinds of big name celebrities and politicians, all that stuff. The media, I mean, you put him on the front cover of magazines being like he's the next Warren Buffett. So it's like, it isn't one single group that I think is responsible, right? It's not the users who trusted him. It's not the investors. It's not just the media that exalted him. It's not the media, right? And so like in some way, in hindsight, is very obvious, right? People are like, oh shit, of course. But like to your point.
Did you pick up on it at all when you were interviewing him?
No, and like.
Did he wear that stupid tech outfit where you act like you don't know how to dress? Did he do that thing? That's become hack.
You think that's on purpose?
Oh, I hate it. It's like,
hacky.
I'm in the network mood. What is it called? The social network. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know how to dress. You're not a fucking idiot.
I was just chest high on Zoom.
Oh, you Zoomed him.
Yeah, Zoomed him. So I think the other thing that's kind of crazy about it, though, is like the reports that are coming out is this wasn't like the whole company knew this either. So everyone,
There's like 10
rightfully
people
so,
working there, and they were in like a
but
polyamorous
everyone is
relationship.
rightfully so
Those 6
focused
eyes
on the
look at the whole
users,
thing.
right? The users lost money. That's bad. That's not good. There's a lot of other people who got burnt that were kind of on the periphery. But also, you got to remember, there's a lot of employees, even if it's only 200 employees or whatever, that work at these companies, and they're in shock. Like there's reports that they're shocked, they're ashamed, they're like all this stuff, and it's almost like they're let down as well. Now again, people aren't going to be sympathetic to them.
And your future, that's on your resume, FTX, so-and-so. How you get another job?
And many of them had funds on the platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's just a lot of collateral damage for this stuff. And I think that it's just, there's no winners. There's no winners in any of this.
That's the thing, man. It's so tricky because nobody has any empathy for people who lose money in crypto. I don't know why we have way more empathy for people who lose money in the stock market. I guess we feel like there's like more work that goes into that. But yeah, like when you lose money.
We've accepted the stock market as a thing. We
Yeah,
haven't
like
accepted
it seems like a
crypto as
real job
thing.
where this other one, like we all have friends that were idiots and then made tons of money.
But like meme stocks and like crypto have been put in the same bucket. And I think the narrative is just like, oh, it's young kids who are like stupid, who are like gambling.
Yes.
Right. And so like if you're a professional or you're an adult, you're like, I don't feel bad if people lose money gambling.
So you never fucked with any of the other coins at all?
No, I started out mining Ethereum. Right, I didn't even know anything. Nobody ever told me about Bitcoin or any of this stuff. So like, I don't think there's very many people who just learn about Bitcoin, never look at anything else, learn about anything else, whatever. I think actually what happens is most people, they're like, what's this crypto thing? They learn about a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
And at some point they're like, oh, Bitcoin is different than the other things, right? And then they eventually kind of flow that way. And if you look, like there's lots of coins that went up in value. 3 or 4 years later, they're gone. They're replaced by other ones. But Bitcoin has just remained the number one for 15 years because, in my opinion, it's the one that has the most kind of sustainable, resilient value over time.
And you had said that, so Larry David had endorsed them in like a Super Bowl commercial. Tom Brady had backed them financially. And apparently, I think you had said that Larry David is getting, like, they're trying to sue him.
Class action lawsuit against
Against a lot of people.
FTX,
And Steph Curry, a bunch of them.
So why are they being prosecuted, and why are they being prosecuted faster than Bankman?
I don't think it's prosecution. For what I understand, it's like lawyers, right?
Gotcha.
Like kind of civil stuff.
Who's got money that I can sue?
They gotcha. Will they get any money from that?
I don't know how that stuff works.
What's going to happen with Bankman-Fried and the nerd girl?
Yeah, what are the charges against him? Like, what could he get?
I don't know, because also it like they're not in the United States, they're in the Bahamas. Like you start getting into like this weird world of just like, if you're an international legal person, you probably understand it. But also, there's other people who have gotten in trouble or accused of trouble through this whole downturn, like over the summer and stuff. And like, they're not in the U.S., so like, what happens to them? There's one guy who I think it's the country of Singapore, maybe, that keeps saying like, "Yo, we're looking for him." He keeps tweeting. He's like, "No, you're not." Like, he's like, "I'm not aware of that." Like, I'm gonna go to this event. If you're looking for me, I'll be here. Like, it's like there's like crazy stuff, right?
With Mt. Gox, did anyone get in trouble with that situation?
That's a good question. I don't think anyone necessarily got in trouble because it wasn't a situation where, from my understanding, it's like there was like accusations of fraud and stuff like that. I could be wrong on that. I think it was more of just like it was a poorly run business, and there was one guy who sold it to another guy, and then like that guy probably ran it even worse, it sounds like, and so it just kind of didn't work as a business, went bankrupt, and then it was like, okay, who has assets left? But I don't think there's accusations like there are in these other cases.
If he's in the States, though, what could his charges be? Like fraud?
Oh, I mean, you kind of look at it as a spectrum, right? Like the people who are most sympathetic to him would probably describe it as like the guy made a mistake. That's what he's saying.
Right.
The people who are the biggest critics are like, yo, 1 million plus users is bigger than, Madoff. I don't think had 1 million people.
Not even close.
Right. Now he may have had more AUM. I think he had more than 10 billion or something. I don't remember the exact details. So it's like, I don't know how it's going to play out. Right. And then also like another piece of it, right? And I've been getting a lot of heat online. People are like, oh, you did an advertising deal with like the media company and stuff. And we're like, we had a framework. It was like, all right, we're going to work with US-based regulated exchanges.
Yeah.
Like seems pretty, simple framework to use. So you're not.
I don't criticize you for that. I mean, if Tom Brady is putting his reputation on the line, a guy who doesn't need to. Like Tom Brady has more than enough money, more than enough success. He's not doing it for. We're all doing things for money for. Like with Larry David, you would probably throw that guy so much fucking money. To do
How much do you think he
commercial.
got paid?
Do you know?
I don't know.
I mean,
5 million?
it had to be even more than that. Like it had to be like.
I'm thinking
I
10
think like
at
30.
least.
At least
30?
Yeah, I think he threw out a ridiculous number.
And they said fine.
yeah.
Because
and they said
Larry's
fine.
so
He has
rich.
so much money. Larry's got what? $500 million? $1 billion?
Yeah, he's got to be
750?
touching
Like,
$1 billion.
Yeah,
Got
you
it.
got Seinfeld money plus curb
Plus
money.
curb money.
Yeah.
So it's like to motivate him, it's almost not even money.
He does. He only seems to do exactly what he wants to do, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
They
for
let him
Tim to-
play himself, and he got to roast it.
Yeah, I mean, the
it's rough.
schedule,
it's fine.
commercials
No
are
one's getting
great.
30 on that, but
No?
30.
Oh.
But like he got paid, right?
he got paid.
Yeah. So like I think that again it goes to like if
I hope you
people
got
are,
some of that Larry David money, bro. Were you asking for crazy money?
trust me, if they were like, hey, you want to be in a Super Bowl commercial? I think there's a lot of people who would have just been like, sure.
Yeah.
Larry David's the one who's like,
That's another thing.
$10 million.
Still being in a Super Bowl commercial.
Larry don't give a
I
fuck
know he
about
got
that.
that.
No, he definitely asked for money though.
Yeah, no, I know he got money, but yeah, I take my number down a little
Yeah,
bit.
but like
Yeah,
Tom,
maybe it's not 30. I guess what I'm just trying to say is like these are people that can't be bothered. Like Tom, Larry can't be bothered.
The
You
other-
could be more bothered.
I could
You
be
ain't
very
doing
bothered.
shit.
Yeah, I could be very, very bothered. I mean, you texted me and I came. So yeah, here I am. No, but if you also think like Tom Brady's an interesting example because a lot of these athletes want to be tech investors. So now they start playing this game of like, okay, cool, I'm well known in sports or whatever my thing is. I want to be an investor. How about we do like a double deal? Mm-hmm. I'll be a spokesperson.
And
Plus, I
get
get
a
to
little
invest.
base,
Plus, you get advisory shares.
Like,
There you
so
go.
these deals are now getting like somewhat convoluted. And again, if you go back and you're like, if the auditors, let's say that they did get tricked, does anybody think that Tom Brady was going to be able to like
Figure out
sniff
the-
it out,
yeah, yeah.
right? No, of
Yeah.
course not.
No,
and
I-
he's just in a commercial. He's like, this looks cool. I get it like with a flamethrower.
Yeah. Is this like a cautionary tale to any of the other exchanges? Because I refuse to believe that none of the other exchanges aren't doing anything that's a little seedy here and there. Do they see this and do they shape up?
Ooh, that's a good question.
good question.
Are they doing this shit? Is the Binance guy behind the scenes doing this shit?
So there's this idea. One of my friends, Nick Carter, is like really pushed. It's called proof of reserves.
Nick Carter, like the Backstreet Boy?
Not him, but same name. He's got a cool haircut like him too. But Nick Carter has this idea of proof of reserves. I don't know if it's his idea, but he's popularized it, where because it's crypto on an exchange, you could basically come out and be like, yo, we say we got 100,000 Bitcoin. Here's the wallet address. Like, here's proof that we actually have the 100,000 Bitcoin. It'd be like the bank saying we got $2 billion of deposits, and then they could like prove to you it's actually sitting there. And so that's one step. There's also this like proof of liabilities. So it's not just what assets do you have, but if you
How
have
much you
assets
owe.
and then you owe it all, like that. So you got to have both. But that's one thing that they could do. And then the second thing is, I think that you're going to see a lot of people who are good actors being like, look, we don't want overreaching regulation. Right, there's an argument that's being made by the large crypto exchanges in the United States that they're like, look, the rules weren't super clear here in the U.S., and so people went outside the United States doing the regulatory shopping, and that could have contributed to this happening. Imagine if this business was here in the U.S., we have faith the U.S. would have uncovered it.
So would you like some regulation for crypto? This is a big moment right here, Pomp.
No, I think most people look at it the same way. It's like Bitcoin already has quote unquote regulation. The SEC, CFTC say it's not a security. It's got this kind of self-enforced rules. If you are a business that deals with Bitcoin, you have rules that you have to adhere to. There's a lot of people who don't like the rules. There's KYC, AML. Like, does that prevent crime, right? There's questions around that, privacy stuff, like all that. So there are rules. I think what you're starting to see though is people are saying, wait, all this like recreation of finance, why do they have different rules than what's already the rules in traditional finance? They're doing the same thing. So like disclosure rules, right? If you guys remember, there was a Luna, one of the coins that blew up over the summer. It like came out that there weren't really as clear disclosures as maybe they would have liked. And so that led to the collapse. And so it's like, okay, like what if we just make people say what they're doing as a rule? Like that could be a step in the right direction.
Sounds
to
like you
prevent
want some
problems.
regulation.
I don't think it's my opinion whether I want it or not. I think it's coming because people are looking and they're like, yo, we can't.
And it might make it a little better.
Well, politicians, imagine if you're anti this stuff and you see this happen, you're like salivating.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
like,
regulation is an interesting thing, right? Because regulation is great for the people who own the business and better for the people who are using the business, but horrible for the people that are trying to compete with the business, right? Because it creates the moat.
In some cases.
In some
that was
cases.
the accusation against FTX was they were trying to get regulatory capture, like basically get it so that no one else could do what they were doing.
Right.
And then it was like free and clear, we're going to be the
Yeah.
winner.
And then you could make the, sorry, go.
No, but you're not trying to regulate the coins. You're trying to regulate the exchanges.
Yes.
It goes back to like the dollar's not regulated.
So how-
It's the businesses.
How do you buy not on an exchange?
yeah.
I truly don't know any other way.
So like you can get Bitcoin a couple of different ways. You could mine it. You go get the machines, right? You can mine
Yeah,
it.
that's
Now,
that's
there's a lot of people who
barrier
like
to
that just
entry.
because they want to participate in the network. There's a lot of people who like that because it's non-KYC Bitcoin, right? So there's like a privacy element to it, but you can mine it. Second thing is you could like work for it. Same way somebody pays you dollars. If you go, there's websites where you could go and say, hey, I'll do some design work or whatever, get paid. So you could earn it, or you could buy it. Now
You
there,
sell pizza.
you could sell pizza. Yeah. Hey,
What happened to the pizza place?
Bitcoin pizza, you go on Uber Eats. And
Pomp's
you
been
could,
delivering for them for a long time.
I'm about to have to.
Wait, the last one just now, you said you can buy it. How can you buy it without a
So you could buy it on a regulated exchange. They have KYC, all that stuff. There's things like local Bitcoins, which is more like peer-to-peer. So like you could like meet up with people. Like that's how a lot in the early days people would do it. And then there are still like unregulated exchanges. They're not in the US usually. They're like elsewhere. But I just tell people like, look, unless you've got some reason from like a privacy standpoint and you understand what you're doing, majority of people, whether we like it or not, are just going to buy it on a regulated exchange, but then take it off of the
Yeah,
exchange.
if you have the coin that's unregulated, use a regulated exchange, put the coin on, trade it, pull all the funds off.
into
there's-
self-custody. Yeah.
Then it's kind of reaching a compromise between like a compromised centralized exchange, but then a decentralized currency.
Think of like the bank. The best example I have is think of like a traditional bank. If I put my dollars in there and the bank goes bankrupt, the FDIC, the government, will basically say, we'll pay you up to $250,000 back, whatever was in the account, right? So FDIC insurance is big. But the reason why nobody is like, yo, let me take all my cash out and like keep it is because it's not very secure. Somebody could come rob you, right? And then two is, what am I going to do if I got to send you money? Like, I'm going to like mail you cash in an envelope? No, it doesn't make sense. The promise of Bitcoin was that you could self-custody it, so you could basically pull it out of the bank, and that then I could, with the press of a button, send it to you instantaneously for near free, whatever.
Right.
And so Bitcoin is really trying to usher that in. It's just that there's a lot of people who are trying to cash in on the rise of Bitcoin, and they're doing it with a lot of this other stuff.
Right.
What do you go?
I'm sorry. No, you can go. This is unrelated.
I have an unrelated question too. What do you think the biggest moment in the history of Bitcoin was in terms of propelling the brand of it? Is there a specific thing that happened?
I'm gonna say there's two things.
Okay.
One is for the brand. One is the biggest moment. The biggest moment in Bitcoin, in my opinion, is when Satoshi walked away.
But we don't even know if that's a real guy.
That's why I think it's important. If Bitcoin becomes what it already has, but even what I think people believe it will become, it's like one of the most selfless acts in the world. Is you create this digital, decentralized, peer-to-peer software payment system.
It's like Ready Player One.
Yeah, and then you have 800,000 Bitcoin,
Yourself.
and you walk away and you never touch them.
Oh, so he just still has them?
Yeah, they're sitting in a wallet. You can see them; they never moved. 800,000 Bitcoin. I don't care if that price is $10 or it's $69,000, is a lot of money. And so, like, in some way, it's a system where there are rules, but not rulers. There's nobody who's going to change the code, right? There's nobody who is the CEO. Like, it is a truly decentralized system. And the fact that we don't know who Satoshi is means that you can't attack it.
How do we not know who Satoshi is? That's the crazy thing to me. You can find anyone. You
What
can find
about the lawsuit with the guy that was in Australia that
Yeah.
claimed it, that then got some money? Like, what were the details with that?
He lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean he lost?
I
What
thought
does
he
that
got. I thought he won. I think he got paid out.
Well, we may be talking about different suits. He's got a couple of them going on, but he sued somebody who had said that he wasn't Satoshi, and when that guy and him went to court, Craig Wright lost.
Oh, gotcha.
So like this guy basically was like, "You're not Satoshi." He got sued, but he prevailed.
Interesting.
And I can't believe there's no idea of who this man is.
I feel like you know. Just blink twice if you do.
No, I don't want to know. Like that's the other thing is like
Yeah, but I feel like
it's
you
like the what do they call it? My friend Marty Bent calls it the immaculate conception, right? Of Bitcoin, of like the fact that we don't know is actually a huge advantage, right? You see like Ethereum, Vitalik is one of the creators. People like him, don't like him. They think some of his views they align with them or not. Some people judge him on his views, right? Like the fact we don't know Satoshi actually drastically reduces the attack surface on Bitcoin.
That's true. It's like,
Elon and Twitter.
well, no, Elon, you have a guy. You know what
No,
I
I
mean?
mean, yeah, we can attack him because we know who. Yeah,
Right.
The second big moment, I think, in Bitcoin was
In terms of like brand awareness, like was there a thing that happened that you remember going, oh shit, it's different now? Was there an act? Did someone rap about it in a song? Did a famous person buy it? Did someone wear a T-shirt? Like
I think it was MicroStrategy, the public company, putting it on their balance sheet, and El Salvador buying it. Like there's a country that's buying Bitcoin.
but I heard that's not working out for them right now because of this.
It's working out as well as for you and I.
Right.
Right? Like when the price goes down. But again, I think that one of the other things about Bitcoin that's unique is like it introduces this like long-term thinking, right? When we all sit around all day long, what do we think? We think about tomorrow, the next day, the next week, whatever. But with Bitcoin, like there's price volatility, but like, did you sell?
No.
Did you sell? No, I didn't sell. Did you guys sell? Right?
I
Like,
don't have any.
you guys don't have any Bitcoin?
yeah.
Oh, you do have some.
Yeah.
Right, did you sell?
Where do you have it?
Coinbase.
Yeah. So like, think of all of us are sitting here. I think a lot of people would look and be like, yo, you guys are fucking crazy. It's down 75%.
No,
None of
we
you
all
sold.
believe it's going to come back up, which is very interesting. There is a confidence that people have in Bitcoin.
Because we've seen it happen.
That's what convinced a lot of the Wall Street guys. So Paul Tudor Jones and Stanley Druckenmiller, two like very well-known finance guys, in 2020 they bought Bitcoin and then came out and said we bought Bitcoin. Now part of it's like if you already bought it and then you tell everyone other people will buy it, so it goes up, right? But the way they talked about it is like one of the numbers that convinced them was when Bitcoin dropped from 20,000 to 3,000, 85% of people who had held it at 20,000 didn't sell. And so these guys were just like, yo, these people are crazy. The shit's going to go back up. We should buy some because it was lower. So it is like a little bit of like market dynamic stuff as well. But I think it's just like if you can weather the storm, if you can weather the volatility, be all right.
Is there any issue now that FTX is out of the conversation for marketplace? Because it was the second largest marketplace. Now that it's wiped away, or is there an issue that Binance now has too much control within the exchange place?
It's a good question. You've been reading. I like
Come on, man.
Yeah, so like it's similar to mining. 65% of hash rate used to be in China. They kicked everyone out. Now America has like 30 to 35%. And people are like, oh, that's healthy. But if all of a sudden America had 50+%, even that would be bad because you don't want concentration in any one country.
Right.
Same thing with the exchange. I think you actually want multiple players because
Exactly.
you don't want it all centralized. But if the number two goes down, yeah, Binance definitely got more market share out
I
of
thought
this.
Coinbase was the number one. Am I
Me too.
wrong?
In America.
In America.
They're the number one like brand, and I think also probably by volume.
It's like iPhone, Binance is like Android. It's like
The
bigger.
rest of the
bigger
world is
globally.
using Binance.
Yeah.
That's WhatsApp.
Yeah,
We're on
yeah.
iMessage.
Yeah, literally. So like, do you think can there be like a regulatory push to create or like disrupt or break up exchanges to create more? Like, is that something that the SEC can do?
So what they probably do is they just like pull them more into like the regulatory environment,
Gotcha.
right? And remember, they already are regulated. Like
Yeah, of course,
Coinbase has licenses. They've gone to different states, gotten approvals. Like this is definitely.
But like, let's
not-
say Coinbase goes down, heaven forbid. But like now that there's just like this one exchange that's like, is there any other exchange that's even a big player in the space?
there's a number of exchanges, but none of them are as big as Binance. Like Binance is like the Goliath.
And then it would have like disordinate control over like, it would have probably what, like 95% of all like crypto transactions. And then at that point, it's like now it's like this decentralized currency. All these decentralized currencies are all centralized.
Well, the trading would be centralized. Like you could still use the Bitcoin network to send Bitcoin to each other.
Right.
But you're not trading.
It's effectively centralized if 90% of the transactions are going through the same exchange.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where things are right now.
Yeah, but
No. But like if let's say what happened to FTX happened to a bunch of other exchanges and Binance was the last one, like
but if people are keeping most of their Bitcoin on storage like they suggest, then it doesn't matter that much.
Right. If people are doing that.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Do you know if there's data on how many people are keeping them on exchanges versus how many are taking it off?
So you can see many of the largest big exchanges. You can see their what they call a balance, right? Like their Bitcoin balances. And I forget the exact number, but I think like 100 or 150,000 Bitcoin came off exchanges during all this. So this is people being like, "Oh fuck, give it to me," which is the biggest like week-long drop in history. And so it's been going down over time. I don't know what it is right now.
Does that help the price?
Yeah, it's illiquidity.
Right? So why haven't we seen a little spike?
Well, if you really think about Bitcoin, yes, it's down 75%, but it was pretty much between like $18,000 to $22,000. This happens, it's like $16,000, $17,000. But if I had told you a year ago, hey, the number 2 exchange in the world is going to go down, like you probably would think there'd be this massive sell-off, like whatever. We really didn't get that. Now it helps we were already down so much, but like. Okay, like actually it's showing a decent level of resilience. It could go down more, which scares people, but like I think it's
what do you think the lowest it would go would be? You think we get single digits?
It's just hard to see, let me knock on wood, but like it's hard to see another catalyst bigger than the number 2 exchange. Like the number 1 exchange goes down.
Yeah.
But like other than the number 2 exchange going down, the government could outlaw it or something. You know what I mean? Like you start getting into kind of like conspiracy land.
Yeah.
Other than the number 2 exchange going down. So like if that's the price, like
the last time he was on, we were like, how much is it going to go to? We're like 100,000 by the end of the year. Now we're like, how low is it going to go? How low?
You want to know something hilarious?
It's gonna go?
In 2020, I wrote a piece publicly, and I was like, it was at like 10,000. I was like, it's going to go up a lot. I think it's going to go to 100K, 10x, and the shit went up 7x.
Yeah.
People were so mad at me. I was like,
you said it was going to 100. Yeah,
and by the way, like, yeah, correct. I was wrong. I came out. I'm wrong, right? Like, I'm a moron, whatever. But like that, like that's what you got to remember is that like all these young kids, they're like, I wanted to go up 50x. I wanted it to like go up whatever. And that's the other thing. That's why they all go and buy all the other coins is because they're like, Bitcoin's not going to go up 50x.
That's what gives you the big reaction.
Yeah. Treat it like the lotto. Like literally.
Literally.
Just like,
I thought about that. When we were down there, I was like, does it make more sense for me to just put $1,000 in 20 different fucking shit coins and hope one spikes?
Yeah.
Like, I'd be way more rich.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Well, in my mind.
Yeah.
In that moment.
You understand he's down now.
I'm down.
I know he's down, but he would be down more. All those things are down even more.
Are they?
Yeah. Like the other crazy part is there's stocks in the stock market that are down more than Bitcoin. Like Shopify is down like 75, 80%.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Right? So it's like, again, like, yes, it's bad that Bitcoin's down.
What do you say, Mark?
But why?
No, I said, yeah, it is, because I have
Mark, you got
Shopify.
Mark, what?
No, I mean, there's definitely stocks in the stock market that are down
Yeah,
more
it's
than
funny,
Bitcoin.
right? It's being like, yeah, I'm broke, but this other guy's broker.
No, it's just like the whole market is down.
Did you just do the I have a black friend with stocks?
Yo, I told him, I said, when you had Huberman, he looked like a strawberry. His face was so red. You got him. I was like, oh, they got that guy.
Oh, we got it. We was having some fun.
Yeah, but like real estate's down, stocks are down, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's down. It's just like, yeah, like of course Bitcoin and crypto's down too. Or sorry, you gonna buy more? Damn, no.
If
He's
it
been
goes
lying
up,
about having Bitcoin
holding
this whole
out.
time.
if that shit goes up, you gonna buy more.
Are you
for
gonna buy
sure.
more?
If it starts to.
If I find out Akaash is significantly more Bitcoin than me, I'll probably buy.
Are you gonna buy more?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy more. I just need permission at this point.
Very reasonable. Very reasonable. I don't know, man.
I was unhinged.
Yeah, you were going crazy. You were a wild boy.
I was a
Well,
wild one.
can we tell him the wallet thing that happened with you?
Oh, son, I had money. I put money on a storage wallet, and then I've made a hidden wallet, and I didn't even know how. And then I forgot what the password was, and I couldn't find it in my iPhone notes. So I thought about 60% of my Bitcoin was just gone in the fucking ether for months. I was just trying to rack my brain to figure out what the password was. Found it randomly.
A lot of people lost crypto on FTX. He lost it in his brain. Like, think about that.
Ain't that crazy?
Just like in his own mind.
This is actually, all right. So there's a limited amount of Bitcoin.
I feel like customer service for Bitcoin.
Yes, hello.
There are some people like Akaash that forget the password and then they just never can get
Yeah, what
access to
happens to that
Yeah.
shit?
It's
Where's
gone.
the lost and found?
No, this is an important
what
question.
happened?
Look, there should be a lost and found.
Yeah.
It's on the blockchain, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Fiat does not have lost and found.
Yeah, it does.
No, it does not. If you drop $20 outside,
I gave a woman her purse once.
well, 'cause you're
full
a
of
nice
cash.
guy. How did you know there was cash?
yeah,
Because I looked in that
but the person-
motherfucker. I
but the
took about
person who
200
found
out
it
before I gave it
has
back
that
to her.
cash.
You
Yeah,
stole the
that's
purse in the
yeah.
first place. That's
No,
the
I
problem.
gave it back to her with all the cash in it.
Did you
Prove
add
it.
any?
I added cash, yeah. I added it back.
So
No,
I do
I gave
think-
it back, but then she gave me a little money. And she gave my friend money who didn't even find the shit. He just walked there with me, and then he kept the goddamn money, son of a bitch.
What'd you do? You looked in the purse, like got her address, and then showed up to her house?
Yeah.
And like knocked on the door, and you was
Yeah.
like,
Here's your purse back, old lady. I'm a good person, bro. And
is
I
a
was a
good-
kid when I did this. Middle school kid.
If only he started tipping.
Yeah, no.
I tipped her. Why are we acting like I don't tip? Y'all are putting this out there in the world. I
He
tip
doesn't
better
tip
than
good.
you. I tip
Oh, he
better
doesn't
than you.
tip
I tip
good.
better than you.
He's put it as a really
They
bad
found a
tip.
thing. They found a thing
For
that
a rich
bothers me.
person,
The worst tipper. It's
tips
crazy.
bad.
Not
What
that he's
bothers
the
you? Hold on, what
worst, but he was
bothers
a
you?
great tipper when he didn't have money.
Yeah.
And now that he's got money, all of a sudden he's just very tight with it.
Yeah.
wait, why?
Why?
Tight with it. It's
I
ineffective.
can't say that I do tip because then the game doesn't work because it looks like I'm being defensive.
No, that's
The game.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
game.
He's doing this for us.
The game.
This is actually really good. This is good. This is good. What
game
everybody's
doesn't
doing
work.
is
Can I
very
tell you
good.
what my rule is with tipping?
Okay, tell me.
Just
Please tell him. Impart
in
some
your
wisdom.
head,
Yeah.
just come up with whatever the 20% is and add a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
And always just say to yourself, like, it means more to the other person than it does to me.
He stopped doing that at some point. I don't know when it happened.
That's a great thing.
If you found a purse on the train today, what would you do with it?
Say again?
There's a purse on the train.
That's all we need to know.
He's like, wait, give me some more time to think about that.
Yeah, you
Before I
find
tell you
First
mine.
you said a person. If I found a purse on the train, it would be too inconvenient for me to go to their home. I have things to do, but I would make sure it got to their home. I
Yo,
put it into the
Meet me
mailbox.
at my place.
Oh yeah.
Put it into the mailbox.
You're gonna put the purse into the mailbox
That's how
and
you
you
get
think
it back,
that's how
bro.
it gets back.
That's how you get back, bro.
Really?
That you put it. If you find someone's wallet, you put that shit in the mailbox.
I feel
They
like
get
you're
it
the
back
type
to you.
of person who would like call Uber and be like, "Hey, take this purse. Don't look in it to this person's house."
I mean, I
and then they never get the purse, and you're like,
make
you
that
feel
call
good,
Uber.
but didn't
That's
actually
not
do
crazy.
anything.
I've done that with many things before.
Yeah.
You've never sent an Uber package?
No, but like a purse.
Nah, not a purse yet. But one day, maybe. I trust Uber, bro.
I'd
I trust
also
it.
look at the purse, like, do they need it? Like, if they had, like, credit cards or ID, if they had, like, a license in there, if they had, like, a Macy's gift card, I'm not going to
You're
do nothing with
proving
the
our
fuck.
point.
What's
Old
that?
Andrew returned the purse.
Yo,
New
who do you think-
Andrew.
It changed, dog.
This is
It
too
changed.
much for me to worry about, bro.
Hey. Let this be a public service announcement for the service industry. This is a public service announcement for the service industry. I used to tip y'all good, but because of this incessant bullying, I have to live up to this reputation.
No, he's gonna
So I
blame
just
us.
want to let you know. I just want to let you know. Y'all knew how much I used to tip you. You knew how much I used to tip you.
how much
I was
I
coughing
used
up
to.
30%. It's going down to 10. It's dropping like Bitcoin.
Oh, yes.
That's what's happening. FTX. You call my tip FTX.
Yes.
Hey, watch them. They can't afford internet with them shitty ass tips you be giving us.
See this? You see how they speak about you? I would never speak about you like that.
Spit in his drink, spit in his food. That's
I'm
the
ordering
tips
what
you
Al's
gonna
ordering. I'm ordering what Al's ordering, and we mixing plates. Okay, that's what's happening. I'm ordering what Al's ordering, and we mixing drinks and mixing plates. That's what you guys asked for this. There's gonna be a lot of people out here that make a lot less money because of you guys.
How dare
get.
you?
Because
Don't separate yourself from him. You connected to him. Don't separate yourself from him.
on
All
Pomp's
of y'all are the same. No, that's what you
I'm
did.
on
the
Team
same.
Bitcoin, bro.
Hey,
You know,
hey, don't try
there's
to
a lot
wiggle
of
out
people
of
need
this.
this money. It's Christmas time. They're not gonna get their tip. My
Y'all
whole building.
acting like
My whole
y'all are
building. Hey, building. Hey, Juan. I was gonna break you off, and you already
This
know I was gonna
SBF
break
right
you
here,
off.
Juan. This
Juan, I was
SBF.
about to break you off.
This
and hey,
SBF right here.
This motherfucker right here, cheap motherfucker. He doesn't think that you deserve it.
Y'all
He
acting
doesn't
like
think
you're
you
going to
deserve it.
Carbone and 11 Madison. Y'all just went to Sweetgreens.
Yeah, how much did y'all tip at Sweetgreens? How much y'all tip at? How much did y'all
Funny
tip at Sweetgreens? Hey, how much
It was
did
the
y'all tip?
saddest thing ever. Y'all put on all your winter
Yeah.
coats and walk across the street. Got your little Sweetgreens, came back and sat down and said, our life sucks.
We don't make
How Bitcoin's looking right now? So how Bitcoin looking right now, bro?
I didn't go to Sweetgreens, so I got no money.
I can't even afford double chicken at Sweetgreens.
Son, I know, bro.
I'm out here on
Come
single
on,
chicken.
God damn,
I'm on single chicken dog.
Shit,
Sweetgreens gonna have their shareholder call and be like, the economy's down. We're not seeing the double guac no more.
bro.
We're not seeing double chicken.
But for real though, fuck you and fuck you. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, you're gonna make it fucked up in my building, man. You're gonna make it fucked up in my building.
Don't put the blame on us.
No, for real. Hey, you know what we're gonna do? Hey, Juan.
Accept responsibility for your own actions.
Deadass Juan.
Don't try to put the accent on it.
I'm gonna tell
Don't
you.
try to relate to Juan.
Sorry.
Don't try to relate to Juan.
Sorry.
Don't try to relate to him.
Sorry,
You don't know
Juan. I mean this sincerely, Juan. I'm gonna find out the doormen from their buildings.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you their building. You find it out. I know that y'all talk. Listen,
Yeah, holler at him.
I need to know how much they
Juan.
tip. I need to know how much they
Holler
tip.
at
Right
him.
now, 100 each.
So how much?
100 each.
For Christmas?
Yeah. Oh fuck, that's not good.
This guy.
There's nothing like someone saying it was 100.
He thought he was balling.
In this economy? Oh shit. It's $100.
Damn, Al, you have to
Joe is mad doorman,
How many
bro.
doormen you got?
Son, it's mad at these motherfuckers. And then the holiday time, they put out a little fucking thing with their names on it and their faces and shit. They're like, yo, we all getting it.
Miles hit me, huh? You see what was being projected? You see what was being projected? Service industry, you trusted these motherfuckers.
You guys all have doormen? God damn it, bro.
No, wait, 100's not good?
Yo, how many
That's
doormen
the
you got?
blackest you ever been on
How
this
many
podcast.
doormen you got?
7.
Yo, Akaash all of a sudden act like he's not the cheapest motherfucker on a goddamn planet.
I'm a generous
How much you
tipper
give?
now.
How much you give your doorman?
200.
How many doormen you got?
A lot, dog.
And you give them all
Shit's a
200?
lot.
Watch this.
Yeah. Some
He lied.
Some
He's lying. He's trying to be like extra serious right now. Son,
How much you give the porter? How much you give the guy who's cleaning up?
200. 200, 250. Some people got 250, sorry. Sorry.
I don't know if I believe it.
I don't believe it. I don't
Son,
think this guy ever tipped more than $100 in
Axe
his
around.
life, bro.
You out of your mind.
I don't think you ever tipped $100 in your life. You don't got it in you, bro.
Well,
Hey,
wait,
you know-
$100
you know who
is
I
not
learned from?
customary, bro.
I learned from
Everybody
you,
ain't
bro.
doing $100.
I
Now
learned
you gonna
from
make
you.
me feel bad.
I ain't gonna lie, I tipped about $100.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. I'm like, wait a minute.
This fucking idiot. Fucking dumbass. 250. I don't give my kids that much presents. 250 for Christmas.
Man, dude, I'm a giving man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to hear some funny ass
No,
shit?
because he can't open doors when it's windy. That's why. Is it? You need a little help when that gust comes.
Son, you don't think we got automatic doors in my building?
my bad,
It's crazy.
I don't want no problems, bro. I don't want no problems.
When I was in New York, I walked downstairs one time and I was like,
I forgot Pomp was there.
and I was like, hey man, I'm going to get coffee. You want anything? And the dude was like, yeah, give me like a iced coffee. I was like, all right, cool. Came back. Next day, I accidentally said it again. And then it just became a thing. Like he just said, and then after like a week, I was like, oh shit, I'm in a bad situation. Like, like, am I an asshole if I walk by him and don't ask him if he wants coffee and come right back?
You gotta cut that shit off.
Nah, so then I just kept getting him coffee because I didn't have it in me. Nah, I moved.
That's the only way out.
This shit went on for like 3 months. I was like, bro, come on.
You gotta get him fired. You're like, he's
No.
stealing packages. He's stealing
It
packages.
started out as a small, then he started asking for larges.
Bro, that's crazy. That's a bill right there.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a
I was
lot.
like, damn, the bill is double.
250, you suckers. For what?
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either, bro.
I don't believe it,
That's
son.
cat,
I
dude.
called
Let's audit his
What's
building.
your guy's name?
Joel, holler.
Can we
Yeah,
audit?
yeah.
We're gonna audit his building. All right?
No, we're gonna ask. We're gonna ask. And it gotta
right
be
now,
everybody in the building getting
Swear
that.
on your wife, you give every single person 200
I
at
gave
least.
every single person
Nah,
200.
Swear
That
on
works
your
in the
I
building.
swear on my life.
It works
I
in the
gave
building.
every-
How
not
many?
every-
I say life.
No, here it is. Here it is. It's coming out.
person
It's
that
coming
works
out.
in the building.
Wait. What?
Not every person that works in the building.
Oh, really? So you give your favorite guy 250.
Wow.
And then the rest of them what?
So that's
The
like
rest
2
of the
people.
doorman got 200, yeah.
Every person in the building got paid by you.
The doorman, yes. And the porter.
That's
Who
like
else works in the
7,
building?
8 of them. The late shift.
We got a cleaning staff
Whatever
and shit
shit.
like that.
You don't pay them at all?
You don't,
Pay them when they
you don't
come.
get like the leasing office. You don't hook them up.
He said,
No. Y'all got me already, motherfucker. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna tip the leasing office.
Bro, I hate this because this guy would cry over the littlest shit when we were going out to eat.
I know, because I didn't have money at the time.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah,
Miami,
so what?
you had money. and you still looked at that bill a little heavy right there.
You're a bill detective.
You was stressed. Oh,
You're
he's
a bill detective.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm still a bill detective. You're not gonna charge me some shit I didn't pay for.
Yo, you got it like that, bro.
Yeah, son.
You got it like that. Why can't you give him a little extra?
Yo, I'll come to
When
the
it's,
building,
when it's
open your
dark in the
door.
restaurant, you pull out the light.
I do that. I do that.
You pull the light out?
I bust a light out. Yeah.
What's a levy mean?
What you looking for?
To look at the bill, bro.
Oh,
What do you mean? It ain't for me. It's for my wife. Gotta see how much this shit costs.
You ever seen like the
All
old person
them
that put the
goddamn-
glasses on, they get the flashlight
That's like
out?
that. My dad will turn up the fucking whole lights in the restaurant and turn the music down. He'll ask for those things. He'll be like, I can't even talk. And then boom, we're talking. But for real, I put the light on so my wife can see how much them appetizers cost because they think appetizers are free. Why don't we order some apps? Why? Okay. Let's see how much
Let's
they
get
cost.
one.
Yeah. Let's just see how much it costs. Yeah, exactly. So she needs to see, and then I sign, and then let's get. How much should I tip on that every time? How much do I tip
You
on
ask
that?
other people.
No, I ask my wife. How much you tip on 700?
So you're saying that she's cheap?
Say again?
So you're saying she's
She's
cheap?
not cheap. She just needs to know.
How much? Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
Smart. That's smart.
See.
Everybody gotta know.
No, they're accusing you of being cheap, but it sounds like now you're saying that she's the one telling you what to write.
wow.
I mean, yeah, she runs it. You know what I mean? My wife runs it.
That was a
You know what I mean?
little judo move.
My wife runs it. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all don't let your lady run the house? You don't trust your ladies?
Wait.
Trust your ladies?
So you say you're not the cheap tipper, your wife's the cheap tip?
That cheap. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about my wife. My wife.
Knew I shouldn't have come.
Let me tell you something about my wife. My wife not tipping none of y'all if it's up to her. Coffee, she goes, for what? My wife will slide 3 screens to get to no tip. You know how that shit start off at like 18%, 20%, 25%, she's like, whoop, 30, 35, 40, whoop, no tip. Boom, right in front of them, full eye contact, not give a fuck. She don't believe that they deserve to get tipped. She's like, they just made me a coffee. What's the point in like?
Damn, son. You stole your wife under the bus like that is crazy.
Yes. She's out here putting pressure on motherfuckers. Calling the business managers.
Pressure, Miles. None of this gets cut.
I'm with
None of this gets cut, bro.
We gonna cut
None of this gets
we gonna
cut,
cut
bro.
one word. We gonna bleep a word
Okay,
or
we'll
two.
bleep a word.
We gonna bleep
But
a
nah,
word
we
or two.
keep it
But
in
the
all
rest,
things.
no. Everybody need to know. She comes correct. She comes correct.
His holiday trip is gonna be horrible.
It's okay. It's gonna be
She's gonna
fine.
be like, so what's the tip?
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna be fine. No, they're not charging us at the restaurant. You know?
She's gonna get coffee in front of you and put $100 tip, and then just watch
Nah,
you.
she knows. She's proud of me. In this moment, she's proud of me. Yeah, this moment, she's proud of me. This moment, she's proud. She said, thank you, Andrew, for standing up for me and what I do. She'll never tip for coffee. I had to bully her into tipping. I was like, you gotta leave something. She said, right in front of barista. She goes, for what? I go, well, they got the coffee. And then she goes, that's their job.
Son.
She right, dog.
Thank you.
She right
Thank
about
you.
it. Hey, she right.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Yo, not tipping is the shit, bro. Yo, tipping is communist.
Hey,
Y'all are communists,
Hey,
bro.
these are
You guys
thoughts
are
by
communists.
Andrew Schulz. Andrew Schulz alone.
Nah, y'all are
service
communists.
industry
Hey,
people.
Joel,
I
you're
fuck
gonna
with
get
you.
less money this year.
Damn right, Joel.
And it's because of these guys right here.
Yeah, damn right, Joel. Joel, you don't deserve it, your electric doors. You know?
That's a good point.
He got an electric door. What's he not even a doorman?
Yeah.
He not even the doorman.
Yeah, that is
Doorman's
true.
AI.
That
The
is
fuck
true.
you paying this guy
He ain't
$250
even
for?
opening the door for you.
To say hello? Okay, listen. Before we end all our friendships, we have to end this podcast. Pomp, is there anything you'd like to tell us? Is there anything you'd like to
You
tell
want
us?
to wrap this up for
Yeah,
us?
Raji, wrap this up for
I'm
us.
fucking shook right now.
How much I'm getting back, Pomp?
You look like you're like a teenage girl sitting on her bed listening to Britney Spears.
Tell me pretty things.
I'm still buying. That's all
Still
I'm gonna
buying.
say.
Still
He's not
buying.
fucking leaving.
Hey. Last time that we did a podcast here, at the end of the podcast, I had to buy a whole Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you didn't do it that day.
Don't yeah but me. Don't yeah but me.
I'll go home and I'll buy one.
No.
Right here.
I can't do it on my phone.
Why not?
Because I don't put that shit on my phone because you can't find the password. You don't even know where your phone is.
Where do you do it?
Huh? On the computer.
We'll get you a computer.
Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. You sounding like Akaash right now. Them tips, bro.
That sounds like Akaash with them tips, bro.
I'll buy more than that.
Why don't you buy a whole
Son.
coin right now, bro?
Hey.
Come on!
I'll buy one.
Hey,
I'll
listen,
send it
you
to
can
you.
sell it if you lose money. You can get it back in taxes or something like that. Come on.
By the way, we're gonna get done. He's gonna have text from his accountant being like, "Yo, talk to me before you do anything."
I'm not buying nothing.
Yo,
But seriously,
Right
come
now,
on.
the Pomp army is listening.
They want to see it.
And they want to see
A whole coin. They
yeah.
want to see a whole coin.
I'll do it when I get it from my computer.
I'll buy some right now, Pomp, if you buy some.
One full coin.
But
I'm not buying no full coin.
Buy
'cause
two,
I'm not
send
allowed.
me one.
If you buy a full coin right now, then we're even.
But mine's way cheaper than yours. See, if you were smart, you would tell me I gotta buy like 4.
No, but I know it's hurting you more right now.
Yeah.
I'll buy more tonight.
No, but you buy one full one during
I'm looking
during
at
the
this again
pod.
on Coinbase right
You know
now.
how to open that shit? How you open that shit? Help me. Help me.
Oh
All right,
my
Pomp,
God.
last chance. Last chance.
No, I think the big thing is obviously situation sucks.
You know, the 2 main things you have to think about in any economy.
Fiat, we up, baby. Fiat, we up, baby.
Oh my
You know
God.
how many people would just say to me in the street, they'd be
I
like,
know how many people won't buy a Bitcoin right now.
Yeah,
Discount.
that's right.
How much
There's
is
4
Bitcoin?
of the 5 of us
No,
ain't
no,
buying
Pomp,
shit
Pomp,
right now.
I'll
You're
buy.
misunderstanding. They weren't screaming fiat. They were calling you something else. for costing them thousands of dollars in Bitcoin.
Pop. We just need one buy, bro. One buy. You could spike it up.
Oh
I don't have anything on my phone.
You seriously don't put it on your phone?
Nah.
Why?
It's too big of a security thing.
Damn. I gotta take this shit off my phone.
You could lose your phone and someone could hack it. Is that your argument?
No, it's just like, you guys ever, you get all the text messages now? Like, people just text you random
Yeah,
shit?
Dad. What do you mean?
No, y'all don't.
That was real. That was real.
Right? Like, you get all these text messages. I don't put anything on my phone. Think about the risk reward to putting on your phone. There's only a couple things I usually tell people. It's like, you should do self-custody.
I'm going to listen intently so you could dig yourself out of this.
Don't put
Go,
this shit
go,
on your
go,
phone.
go. Yeah.
Right? And then the third thing is just don't trade.
Don't trade.
Like the trading shit's crazy to me. I know so many people who were like, oh, I bought, 5 Bitcoin, it was $500 each or whatever. Now I got 1 Bitcoin. I'm like, oh, damn, did you lose them? They're like, nah, I was trading. So it's like, it's real because it's denominated in Bitcoin. So just don't trade. Take it off the exchanges, self-custody, don't trade.
You bought it on
Don't
your
put shit
phone.
I bought it on my phone
With
with you.
Pomp.
With you.
Yeah, and then you don't have your phone now. No, your other phone.
Damn it.
So like, you're actually a great example. You're
what?
a good example of how not to tip, but a good example also of what not to do with Bitcoin.
Damn.
Man, what? Did I get attacked twice right there?
Yeah, bang, bang.
Yeah, that was DP.
Fuck,
that
bro.
was DP.
Bang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bang.
Y'all should have never told me the tipping thing.
Son, this motherfucker don't tip, bro.
Yo, you're a great example of something you put the tip in. Your fiat.
All I know is that the waiters and waitresses gonna be standing over there looking around the corner and be like, oh, they're getting loud.
I tip. Okay, listen, Pompliano, thank you so much for coming on. We love you, brother.
I tip. Okay, let's end it.
Let's end it right now. Listen, we love you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you so much. This has been Flagrant. Peace.